Complacency is a luxury. Nobody wants to change something that's working for them. People will really be moving throughout everyday life like it's okay, and there's still so much more to be explored.
If I even waited till I was 45, I would be like, God damn it, I really said I wanted to do it 20 years ago. That's not a good story.
That's never a good story. When you have kids and you have a mortgage and shit like that to deal with, it kind of limits the space I have to dream with.
3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to episode 74 of Ruse Radio. We are back again with a very special guest. Special guest, could you please introduce yourself?
I am GS the Dream, also known as Captain Cloudzville, Sean Sounds, bunch of other names I go by depending on what I'm doing in the moment. But yeah, I'm here.
So when you say that, depending on what you're doing in the moment, how does that work? Like, it's kind of like how Eminem has Slim Shady, and there's like, you know, depending on how he's feeling that day. Is it like that?
Yeah, it's a little alter ego to it, but it's also position. Like if I'm on the song and I'm rapping or I'm singing, I'm GS the Dream. If I'm behind the boards, if I'm mixing, I'm engineering, I'm making beats, I'm Sean Sounds. If you're trying to buy some clothes from me, I'm Captain Cloudzville. Like, it really just depends on what's going on. I think Captain Cloudzville is more of like a brand. Like in my head, one of these days I'm gonna start shooting commercials. And in my commercials, I'm going to probably be a very corny person, but it's going to be very hard to get it out of your head. And it's kind of going to be like the, like Foreman Mills. You know how that commercial, Foreman Mills? It's like, I know what it is. I probably barely ever shop there, but I can recognize it because that sound is so annoying every time I hear it. So that's my marketing plan for when I start shooting commercials for my clothes and stuff.
It's kind of evil.
Yeah, it's definitely
like you're working for the devil at that point. I feel like
hate marketing. I'm gonna make you hate me so much you can't get me out of your head. I'm living your mind rent free solely because I'm annoying.
You know what's funny? He even described the trauma that he wants to relive upon everybody else. Like, it happened to him when he was a kid with Foreman Wills, and now he wants it to happen to you.
Yeah. Because it worked. You know,
it does work. It's good marketing, right?
When you see something work, you kind of just got to see how you can incorporate it. So I'm going to be a little less of an evil genius, but I'm going to still be an evil genius.
Well, I feel like that's how great pop hooks work. Is like, it's so catchy. It's kind of ridiculous how catchy it is.
Yeah.
Like, I want to think, because there's this new song that I have where I was like, I realized, like, I like the hook so much. It's my favorite hook I've ever written. So that's the part I need to record. And I'm just going to trick people into hearing it over and over. And it's going to drill it into their brain. And I know it'll, just like the Foreman Mills song. They're going to hear it so many times because it's one of those pop songs. It's like, it's a pop hook. And I think pop hooks do that on purpose. They're catchy enough to where it's like you can sing it to yourself on accident later. Like, it's just catchy enough.
You put something in the microwave. Damn it! How the fuck is this stuck in my head? So yeah,
because rap hooks don't really do that, but a good pop hook will. That's my theory on that.
Are you familiar with Kyle, the rapper?
Yes, I am.
He has a song called "Moving."
Uh-huh.
Does the same exact thing. He says, "I'm moving." And he just says it a million times during the hook, and then before you know it, you're rocking along with it. I mean, I'm a Kyle fan, so I love his music, so it didn't bother me. But it's just like the average person who might not be familiar with it, they hear like the little 4 to the floor beat, and then they hear him saying, "I'm moving." It's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, he's obviously moving because he told you 40,000 times. But yeah,
40,000 times. At least.
At least. And that's before you put the song on repeat. So
yeah. You know what I'm thinking now that you told me about this, is I'm going to, it'd be a good rap challenge to do it like 50%, 200% times as fast. Did I say 50? I meant like 150. 150, 200%. I'm moving. I bet I could do it. I bet I could pull it off.
I was talking to somebody a very long time ago, and we was like, it was around the time where we was like really into Absol. It's not like I fell off of Absol. Absol is amazing. But this was like around the time where Black Hippie was just starting to get their footing and starting to get their momentum, and like it's a control system that just came out. And he had a video, I think it was for pineal gland or something like that. And it was like little flashes of stuff that was like literally like a split second. Like if you blinked, you didn't see that part of the video. And I was just thinking like, damn, how can we do that with music? Like, I wonder if there's a random phrase or a random word I can just say in the background really low of a song and just like hypnotize people.
Like subliminal messaging.
Yeah, just like just throw it back there, and it'd just be something harmless like buy more corn or just something stupid, like just something stupid. I just wanted to see if I could get away with it, but I never picked the song.
Well, I would
to try it.
The best. First of all, pick a song, but like, dude, study if it works. You know, like you gotta pick a topic or something persuasive enough where you can study. Like, did the corn sales go up in the area?
Where I can see, where I can check the metrics. For sure.
Because, dude, that's subliminal messaging. That's literally the plan. That's what they do.
That shit would be crazy. Yeah,
I bet it would work because it's like you really like the song and you didn't even realize the song made you want the corn.
You didn't even realize I was trying to turn you into a farmer. Like you didn't know.
You could do some positive stuff with that.
Exactly.
If
that's
you
what
had
I'm
some
trying
like
to see.
secret yeah. So what are your ideas?
I don't know. I don't know, man. If it's something that's gonna affect the world as a whole, it kind of has to be something that almost everybody does. So it'll probably like it's a lot of people that probably don't eat a lot of vegetables. Maybe they don't like corn. But if I was just like stop fucking raw, then it's like, oh snap, condom sales have went up. Like like Durex is bad. People are even buying the Durex condoms now. It's crazy. I don't know what started this. So I don't know. It had to be something like that can affect everybody on a global scale. Drink more water is one, but Mick Jenkins does that. So I don't know. I'll figure out something.
I always say I'm sponsored by water. That's what I used to always say. Now I have sponsors for the podcast, so I guess I could still say it though. You can always be sponsored by water. I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah.
Because I think water's a great sponsor.
The water hasn't let you down, so why would you drop it as a sponsor? Exactly. You know what? If you get canceled and water cancels you, you fucked up.
Bro.
If you get canceled by water, like, no, I need you to survive. Water's like, no, I'm not fucking with you no more. Like, you had to do something crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, you get a call from the water guy.
Hey, this is Culligan. So about these water plugs, I'm gonna need you to just stop saying the W word on your podcast, period.
I'm like, dude, I did that since I was 8. Are you serious? You're for real?
Y'all
I didn't even know you guys knew I did this.
Yeah. We've been watching, you know.
Can I come and meet you right now? You're real? Dude, I'd be freaking out. If I got a call from the waterman, I'd be on cloud 9 immediately.
How the fuck did you get my number?
Right. Your water
That's
guy?
what I always wonder. Like, people will tell stories about like, oh yeah, I was doing such and such, and then I dropped this song, and then next thing I know, Puff was calling me. I'm like, how do these people get your number? But then I'm like, okay, if they have a lot of money, I'm pretty sure they can like get in touch with somebody who has your number. But it always just makes me feel, I always have that question and it never gets answered.
Maybe it's like a Nardwuar thing. Maybe that's the best way to describe it. Maybe it's just like some random investigative thing where they just know the right people to call and it's just the right person.
Like Mark Zuckerberg and just be like, oh yeah,
yeah,
his number's connected to his Facebook account. Hey, this guy here, what's his number?
It's probably that easy.
Yeah, you're right. Mark, what's his number? Oh, it's 810.
Crazy times we're living in, folks. Crazy time. We live in a digital age, all right? Mark Zuckerberg is out here just telling people everything. We got Snapchat with the Snap Map. What is going on? With all that happening, it could drive a person mad. Way too much. Way too much. Maybe sometimes it's best to remind ourselves that all this doesn't matter. Life's just gonna happen, and then it ain't. And that's what it is. It can be difficult to remember that. Sometimes we need a reminder. Sometimes that reminder comes in the form of a friend. Sometimes that reminder comes in the form of a mentor. But sometimes you don't have those things. So you got to find something else. Well, folks, I'm all about finding natural remedies. And this one right here makes it happen. I'm talking about CBD. CBDisthebomb.com. And we got CBDfx as a sponsor of Ruse Radio. CBDfx is awesome. They make it super easy for you to get your CBD wherever and whenever you might need it. It's how I get mine. I love their gummies. Their turmeric gummies are awesome. Also, their mushroom blend gummies are fantastic. Super awesome stuff, and they have great prices. They also have discounts all the time. And if the word discount perked your ear, well, let me tell you something, all right? If you head into the link in our description, you can get $20 off your first order of $65 or more, as long as you're brand new to CBDfx. If you're interested in that, if you're interested in making your life a little bit better with a little bit of CBD, let me tell you, these guys are the way to go. All right, let's hear a little bit more about how social media took over the fabric of society.
Everybody's on at least one. Like, if they're not on Facebook, they're probably on Instagram or Snapchat or at least one.
Snapchat's them too? I know
Snapchat.
Instagram and Facebook is both under Meta or whatever the
Oh,
Facebook
well, I
company
was
is.
just listing social medias, but you could probably get someone's number through Snapchat if you really wanted to. I bet you could. People give their location away on Snapchat.
Yeah, now that's fucking crazy.
I never
That
could.
is fucking crazy. I think I shared my, like, at first it was on and I didn't know it was on until somebody was like, oh yeah, I'm right around the corner from you. I'm like, how the fuck you know where I am? I'm not even at home. I was at a fair or some shit with my kids. And I'm like, how the fuck do you know where I'm at? He's like, oh yeah, on the Snap map.
Oh, you didn't know that you had it?
Yeah, I didn't know that it was a thing. So I guess it's on until you turn it off, I guess.
I don't know. I just know that as soon as I saw
I turned it off like
Yeah.
immediately because like on your phone it'll show you up top if it's something that's monitoring your location. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have an app open that's monitoring your location. So if I'm GPSing somewhere and I see it, I'm like, of course, because I'm GPSing. If I get on like DoorDash or something like that, okay, they need to see where I'm at to bring my stuff. I get it. But if I'm on Google just searching something, food near me, okay, cool. You're talking about near you. I get it. But if I start searching like, oh, I need to fix my sink, who has the cheapest faucet? And then they start showing that location up there. I'm like, no, come on, man. Just take me to the Home Depot site. They don't need to know which one I'm closest to.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember. Do you have an Android or an iPhone?
iPhone.
I think with my phone, I think I have it turned off, the location thing, and it asks me. I don't know if it does it on Chrome, though. Probably not on Chrome. I know sometimes it's wrong, but yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. You're right. It's like every time you look anything up, it just automatically assumes you want it as close to you as possible. Yeah. And the Snapchat thing, I just remember as soon as that came up years ago, I saw that and I was like, no way. Because, curiosity kills the cat, I will be the guy to like look and see like, damn, I wonder what 20 people I'm friends with on Snapchat are around me right now. Like, I'll look at the map, but ain't no goddamn way I'm letting everybody else know.
Yeah.
And I just remember like everybody uses that. Everybody. My mom, I guess this is slightly connected, but I think a lot of people do this now. She wants me to go on this Life 360 thing. And it's a family app where it tracks your phone, but it's like you have a certain group of people that you're tracking at a time. So let's say it's me, my mom, my brother, my sister, my uncle, and that's it.
Right.
So that's the idea. But it's still, to me, in my brain, maybe I'm just like, I have an old school brain. But I'm thinking, like, you do not need to know where I am at 24/7. Are you crazy?
Nah. And then that's the thing, like, they have the ability to check it, but it's not like anyone's on their phone 24/7. Like, oh, he just went down the street. He must be getting eggs. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like they're just doing that. But I think my girl and her mom has something similar because, like, when we're getting ready to drop the girls off at their grandma's house or whatever, if her mom doesn't respond fast enough, she can look and be like, okay, she's at home. So it's okay for us to go drop them off or whatever. So I get it in that sense, but I just can't imagine really sharing my location with too many people for whatever. Like if it's friends and family, like really, really close friends and family, I could kind of see how somebody would be comfortable doing it. Not me, but somebody. But
yeah, I can understand.
Like it has its applications. Like I get why it's a thing. It's just not a thing for me.
Yeah, no. When I say all of this, what I am saying is I see it and I go, can't be me.
Yeah, right. Immediately. You want my what? No, I'm good.
Who do you think I am?
Right.
Have you met me?
I'm not even doing nothing spectacular. Like if you want to see me on the couch for 2 hours, go at it. But just ask me if I'm still on the couch. Don't track my location.
Text me. Just text me. Because that's the thing I was gonna say. This is how my family uses it from what I've observed, is they'll be like at a restaurant and they're waiting for you to get there and they're like, I wonder if they even left their house yet. And then they look and they see that you're still at your house and they're gonna give you more shit than they would have given you if they didn't know.
It was traffic. You didn't know it was traffic? No, I saw you were in the shower. It tells me what level you're on.
I know your elevation.
That'd be fucking crazy.
Yeah,
man.
it's
it
too
said
much.
you were on the second story. What are you still doing on the second story? It's just your bed in the bathroom. You were in the fucking shower.
Yeah, I've seen her make
instead
phone
of coming
calls.
here.
I've seen her at a restaurant getting upset because she had too much information, and she was like, "I'm gonna call." And I was watching it happen, and I was thinking, like, if she did not have this app and she did not know where my sister is right now,
There would be no problem at all.
yeah, we would just be chilling here, being like, "Yeah, we don't know where she is, whatever." But you have too much information. You don't need to know this.
That's the thing too. Having so much access to so much information just gives you more shit to be mad about.
Mm-hmm.
Like until you know something's happening, you don't have the opportunity to be mad at it.
Yeah, because
as soon as it gets in your head, now you got to decide: do I like this or do I hate this?
Yeah,
Like,
I've heard that it's best to not encounter anything for up to like 30 minutes after you wake up in the morning, just because it's a physiological thing, because it has to do with the way that your body recovers from sleep. But to me, like, I've done it before, like just even not looking at your phone, just trying to avoid most interruptions if you can. And it's just like it helps you kind of have a neutral stance throughout the rest of your day, because obviously your morning is it's like the beginning.
It's pivotal,
part.
yeah.
It's pivotal, yeah. So if you just avoid bullshit for those first 30 minutes, because as soon as something else encounters you, now you're deciding, like you said, if you like it or not and how you're going to react. And there's all this equation when it was just you. When it was just you doing your thing,
Right.
it was a very simple thing that was happening.
Yeah.
So I try to hold by that. I think that's why meditating is probably a good thing, right? You learn how to...
I do that in the morning sometimes. I don't do it as often as I should, but maybe like 2-3 times a week when I wake up. I use like the guided meditation videos on YouTube and stuff like that. So
or how long are they?
somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes.
Okay, that's not bad.
Sometimes it'll be like 10 minutes, some of the shorter ones, but it's just a really quick thing. So I have an alarm that wakes me up before I need to go wake other people up. And then I go off of that alarm, and then I'll use the 15 or 20 minutes that I would normally just lay in bed and roll over and just be like, oh, I got to really get up in a minute.
Yeah.
I would take that time and just use it to meditate. And then a lot of times they'll have like a like a caption, like, okay, this one is focusing on having positive energy. This is focusing on letting go, or this is focusing on forgiveness or whatever. So I just scroll through the videos until I see a headline that I feel like resonates with me or what I want to focus on for the next 15, 20 minutes. Then I just knock that out and move with my day like that. Now, 30 minutes, I don't know. I probably find the little video and then go straight to my phone and digest whatever's on Instagram at the time. So I need to start thinking, like, if I could get a good 45 minutes at the beginning of my day and not look at any social media for a week straight, I know I can make it a habit and just like keep running with that momentum.
It's the habitualizing of it that's hard. Because it's
yeah.
like the first day, even the first day might not be too bad, but like you just, dude, you're so habitualized in doing it that's what makes it hard. Because it's like the first day you might be able to do it, and then the second or third day you just do it with an accident. Like you can't.
It's like, fuck, now I gotta start over.
Yeah. And I heard someone say, I think it was Andrew Huberman, a neuroscientist. He has an awesome podcast. But I think it was him that said it takes 90 days to break a habit. Like that's the furthest research they have, like to properly break a habit. Like let's say in your brain, you're actually rewiring your brain. I think that's what he was saying. It takes 90 actual days. So, but can you imagine that? Not reaching your phone in the morning for 90 days for at least an hour or so? That's tough.
That's great. Yeah, because like all of the stuff that I do in the morning kind of happens on my phone. Like the meditation thing happens on my phone.
Oh, even the meditation.
The meditation thing is my phone. Checking the weather to figure out how I need to dress my kids, that's my phone.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's some kind of technology involved. I could always go in the bathroom and ask Alexa what's going on, I guess.
That's kind of cheating,
that's so
though.
weird. Yeah, like it's basically like working around. It's like, oh, you said I couldn't touch my phone. You didn't say I couldn't
talk to Alexa.
Yeah, so
Alexa
weird.
just becomes your new phone.
You know what? I think I would just need to do certain things ahead of time. Like, you know what? I can check the weather for tomorrow the night before. It's not gonna change that much.
That's a good solution. I wasn't even gonna think to suggest that. That's better than anything I would have came up with. That's very good.
So it's certain things you can just set things in motion to set yourself up for success, and I think that would be an easy, like, quick fix. Like, oh, just check the night before.
Yeah, and you could accomplish it. See, and that's the thing that we do as humans. We set up these reasons not to do it.
It's impossible.
You just in real time just came up with the way to not.
But
do
you know
that.
what? I always talk to my friends about this. Like, when did we start doing that? Because when you were a kid, if you wanted something on the shelf, you didn't ask somebody. You didn't say, "Oh my goodness, it's on top of that shelf. I'm never gonna get it." You moved the chair in front of the refrigerator or in front of the cabinet or whatever. You climbed on the chair, not even knowing if it was gonna hold you for real. Like, as a kid, we just do shit.
Yeah.
But then as we get older and we experience failure enough times for the failure to sit in and for us to get uncomfortable with how that feels, then we stop just doing shit because that's what we want to do. We're like, oh no, I'm not going to do that because this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. And then that pessimism just kind of builds up and then it becomes who you are in a lot of different ways. But as a kid, no, give me the fucking Fruity Loops. Like, I'm about to climb on top of this, climb on top of that. We seeing cartoons. I don't know where we get it from, but we're like, if I stack up enough shit, I can reach what I need to reach. I don't even know why I want it. It caught my eye and now I'm hungry. I want these Fruit Loops. I'm going to stack some shit up and get it. That's where the crate challenge came from. Somebody probably watched some kids. Like, they don't have no business on that. I wonder if I could get a whole bunch of adults to do the same fucking thing. And they turned it into a challenge and people broke their necks and shoulders all over America.
Man, I didn't see the crate challenge. That was a thing?
That was a thing. People took like the milk crates and they just stacked them up on different tiers, like the end of a Mario level. And people would try to get all the way up one side and then all the way down the next side. The people who made it up very seldom made it down. The people who were like fell off on their way up, a lot of times they land on their feet, they laugh it off. And people that are on their way down from the other side with all that momentum from climbing to the top, they got fucked up. It was crazy.
Yeah, a lot of risk going on there. But I was going to say, I feel like a lot of the best role models in life are people that maintain a childlike imagination. And I swear that someone said to me, it's best to be childlike, not childish. And I don't know where that quote comes from, but I like that one too. Because you don't want to be childish in nature. You want to make mature decisions. But to be childlike and to have that imagination and that wonder within you, I think that's what keeps people truly alive. And I've noticed in my own personal experience that the more things I do that make me feel like I am truly experiencing things, the more alive it's just having that nature to explore and to seek out new things. And I think that most people, like you said, they just lose touch with that.
Yeah, I think it happens somewhere because I don't know. Like, I used to old ass conversations, man. But when you said the childlike versus the childish thing, and the people like who are most influential kind of have that childlike wonder in them, first thing I thought of was Andre 3000. Because a lot of people will take his verses and break them down like they're this super complex thing, and he himself will tell you, nah, that's how I speak, like that's how I talk, that's how I think. And even on the he had a song with T.I., the I'm Sorry song, where he was like, man, the whole reason Outkast fell apart is because Big Boy wanted to get together and throw this big reunion tour and this and that. And he was like, bro, I'm a kid at heart. I don't care about how much money we gonna make doing this. It's not gonna be fun to me. Like, it's not something I want to do. I don't really see the joy in it. So that was one point. The second thing was me and my grandma, rest in peace, she used to always have these conversations with me, and I would always ask her, like, is that nature? Is that nurture? Is that who that person is, or is that what that person learned?
What in particular?
And what, like, it
like, is what nature
like,
and nurture?
Just however just whatever decision somebody's making that they're being judged for, I used to just be like, okay, is that nature or is that nurture? Like, did they learn that, or is that just them? And I was kind of like, people who I feel like as a kid, like if we're just in a broad sense, something that affects me on a regular day, let's say racism, right? I don't feel like as a kid, people are born racist. I feel like as a kid, all you want to do is have fun. All you want to do is play. You have all of this energy and you want other people to expand this energy out with. You just want to run around with somebody your age. You just want to, but then you have people around you, or you listen to society say, oh no, don't play with them. Why not? Just no, we don't play with them. And then before you know it, subconsciously, person starts having a bias towards people that look a certain way, because my parents always said, no, we don't play with people like that. My parents didn't necessarily say, oh no, we don't deal with black people, or we don't deal with people that, hair looks like this or whatever. Like, it's not like they're characterizing these people and saying anything derogatory, but the more I steer you away from that, the more either you're going to be interested and dive straight into it, or you're going to come up with your own reasons for why I'm steering you away from it.
Right.
So it's like you're taught to look at that way. When you first walk into the situation, this is just another person.
Yeah, and I think the way you just described it puts it well in the sense, too, that it's the fact that the communication is incomplete that makes it so bad. It's the fact that
I don't have the information to make my own decision.
Yeah.
I'm going based off of what somebody is telling me or what I think they're trying to tell me.
Yeah, and you don't know what the fuck they're trying to say.
What the fuck they're saying. Yeah. So I think something as simple or something as complex as that really breaks down to how people are raised from the beginning. Because, I mean, I know people who are white that grew up in, blocks away from me that, what I'm saying, can go into a situation and look at it objectively. Like, no, okay, this is my family. These are white people. I love them. These are my friends that I grew up around. These are black people. I love them too.
Yeah.
And then it's just love all the way around because they never were steered in any direction. They just got to experience these people for who they were. And then they built the relationship they built. They lost the relationships they lost, whatever, win or lose. But they never attributed race to the character of somebody because they seen people from both, groups of people just fit into their life.
Have you heard how Morgan Freeman has talked about Black History Month? Because to me, it's a similar way of thinking in the sense that, like, when he's asked about Black History Month, he says that he wishes there wasn't a History Month for Black people. Is there a History Month for white people? Is there a History Month for all these other races? Like, why is there a need to single out this one race? Just the fact that we're even thinking about it in that way. Like, it should just be that we're all equal and we're all making accomplishments, and what separates us is what makes us better. And we should be proud of the fact that we're different, but also not single out different people for different reasons, because then we all start getting divisive. And you just don't need to even bring race into a lot of these things.
That's a lot easier if race wasn't involved.
And people would just, they would just get along better. They're getting taught to think of it that way, like you're saying. And that's the frustrating part to me, is like people don't even realize they're looking at it through the wrong framework. Yeah. Like, no, dude, that could be you in a different life. You've been told something for so long, you feel like that's your thought process, or you feel like it was your decision. Like you thought that originally,
Yeah.
Because you don't,
It's just like, oh, these name brand chips taste way better than the store brand. A lot of times, that it could be true, it could not be true, but it's like you look at the bag and be like, nah, that bag looks cheap. I'm not buying these chips.
Yeah.
And those chips could bang. Like, them shits could be amazing.
Trust me,
but you don't
we know this from experience.
Yeah, like, but you don't know because you're like, oh, it's not Doritos. I'm not buying that. So, it's kind of the same thing. It's like things outside of you and your thought process make decisions for you on a regular, everyday basis.
Yeah.
There's some people that only go to a certain gas station because I've been going to this gas station for years. I don't care if their gas is 15 cents higher than down the block. This is the gas station I go to.
And it's the best gas station in the goddamn world.
This is the only coffee I'll drink. Yeah, I know I can buy coffee at home, but it's not Starbucks. Yeah, I know I can make a burger at home, but it's not Burger King. It's not McDonald's. It's not whatever. So these brands that you see every day, and I mean, that's the beauty of marketing. If you're on the right side of it, it's like, oh, I'm just raking this money because I've convinced people that this product is the best version of whatever it is. I've convinced people that they need this. They can't live without it. But at the same time, on a human level, when you look at the choices you make, a lot of it is based off of branding. A lot of it is based off of society. And a lot of it is based off of ideas that got placed in your head that you had absolutely nothing to do with.
Everything is a ruse. And that's the idea of my name.
Okay.
That's how I explain it.
You
just wrapped it all up for me. So
the story, I purposely said, look, I need to save this for when everything's rolling. So when the name first came across my page, I read Ruse. I see Ruse. In my head, I said Russ. So for a very long time, I thought you were just a really big Russ fan. And I'm like, man, he's posting this Russ shit a lot. Like, so it wasn't until I heard somebody say Ruse Radio like out loud, and I was like, "Fuck, I've been hearing that wrong so fucking long." And then I went and actually saw like episodes that you did with people, and I'm like, "Oh shit, this is a totally different person. This is not Russ." Like, I'm like, why is this person from my city posted so much damn Russ? Is Russ secretly from Flint? Like, I didn't know what was going on. So, like, when I, like, broke those two ideas apart in my head and realized you were a totally different entity, that's when I checked you out and I saw the conversations you have with people, kind of got to see what I'd be walking into during the, an interview and stuff like that. But I was like, for a very long time, I was like, this guy loves Russ.
Well, let me say, you're not the first one. You're probably the first one to, at least as far as I know, think that I was Russ for that long. Because most of the time, what happens is, and let me just defend myself before I even get into this whole Ruse Russ debacle, okay? Because I'm glad you bring this up. I don't know if I've ever gotten into this on the podcast. So the whole problem is, I didn't know of Russ when I started making music as Ruse. I barely even knew who Kendrick Lamar or Mac Miller were. I barely even listened to music at that point in time. I like knew Eminem and like a few other rappers probably on YouTube. Like, I swear. Right. Maybe I knew some rappers. Maybe I'm misremembering, but like, I'm telling you. So I just went with Ruse. I say all that because I think Russ was around like 2012, I think, but he wasn't popular at the time. I don't think.
Yeah, it's fair to say the popularity came later.
Yeah, so he just beat me to the popularity thing, and so now whenever I'm like walking around and I'm playing a show or however it goes and they see the name, they'll say, "Hey, Russ?" And I'll go, "Nah, it's Ruse." But I'd say it's a good 50-50. And you know what's fun about it? What? At this point, I've come to accept it. It's like, if they get it right, it's like a bonus. And the other thing is, it's just generic enough to, like, I got to get popular before some of these random ass rock bands that I keep finding popping up on like Spotify and SoundCloud. Like, it's just generic enough. Yeah. So, it kind of puts me in crunch time. There's a lot of reasons to keep Ruse. It's a beautiful name. But all that being said, Ruse Russ. Was that it? I think that was about it. Why did we bring up Ruse Russ?
Because I was reading Ruse, but in my head I kept saying Russ, and for a very long time I thought, you were just a really big Russ fan. Like,
I think I laid the whole thing out, yeah. But how? So are we talking like 6 months? Is that what it was?
Man, I think the first time I saw it was probably when the world made everybody sit the fuck down, and we were sitting around. Yeah, so we were just. I don't even know what it was. I don't know if it was because
you said Elijah Wan and Damon Compton when we were talking off air. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, he showed me that one when I told him I was coming here because I was with him yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So he showed me that one, but I saw some other ones.
Yeah, and you were probably about to say because it was chilling. You were chilling on your couch at home, not doing shit.
Yeah, I had way more time to just consume content at that point.
We all did, my friend. I think we all know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So that was kind of around the time where I first got, like, when I first saw it on my timeline or whatever, just, spending more time on social media, you start seeing people that you're friends with, but you don't necessarily interact with as much because they've already showed you the people you interact with. So now here's the rest of your friends list. So you were mixed in with some of that, and I was like, man, this man really loves Russ. Like,
did you hear the songs and think it was Russ? Did you actually hear it?
You know what? I kept seeing Ruse Radio. And that's what made me feel like, oh, okay, Russ must be going live. Because Tory Lanez had the little, like, Club Tory or whatever the fuck he did where he was going live and people were coming on there. So I was thinking it was something like that. And then it was probably late 2021 when I, like, really heard somebody say Ruse. Oh, yeah, I was on Ruse. I just wouldn't talk to him. It was on what? Ruse. I'm like, Russ? Ruse, bro. Look at it. Look at how I spell. Oh, shit. It is rude.
Well, honestly, I'm happy to hear the story. That's fun. That's fun. And yeah, it's just a thing that happens throughout time. That's why I explained the whole thing, just to defend myself, I suppose, because it always happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, something similar happened to me when I was like way younger. Like when I was younger, kind of like I've been writing music for a really long time for a very sad reason, but we can talk about that later. But I've been writing music for a really long time, and the thing about starting music when you're young is you don't know who the fuck you want to be. So I went through my fair share of rap names, and around the time where my cousins were like introducing me to the Smack DVDs, where people were like rap battling and rap was like really aggressive, and 50 Cent was the man, and you know what I'm saying, Ja Rule and DMX were the guys that were kind of running hip hop at the time. I got the idea that I was a super hardcore rapper, right? Somewhere in my 13, 14-year-old brain, I was extra gangster. So my rap name was Arsenal because if somebody has a bunch of guns, they have an arsenal. So I just thought it was a cool rap name. And then I'm on MySpace. This is back when MySpace was still a thing. I'm on MySpace and I see somebody named Arsenal and he's getting like a bunch of plays and all of this other stuff. He's from New Jersey. So years later, I realized that this guy kept running with Arsenal and he's a very famous battle rapper now. But in 2004, 2005, I'm in his MySpace inbox like, hey, you loser, give me my name. Like, you know, I'm fighting with this person over a name. He probably had it for years at that point. But yeah, I ended up switching my name like 2 years later anyway. So that was a very pointless message. Arsenal, if you watch this randomly one day, it's no problem, bro. We good.
I don't know, man. It's been 20 years. He might still be holding the grudge.
He might be.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a while, man. But, you know, things have changed a lot.
And he was a battle rapper, so just imagine if he like came at you in the 20 years
And he's
later.
a very disrespectful battle rapper too. So if he actually knew anything about my life, oh yeah, I'm about to go cry somewhere.
Yeah.
Like
That'd be a very fitting conclusion to that story.
that would be crazy. He just throw me in a round randomly.
I hope that he sees this and takes my advice. He's like, you know what? Huh. It's pretty good.
I remember that message.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Right.
So, how many names did you go through?
Man, probably like at least 5.
Oh boy.
I know for sure it was at least 5. I remember Arsenal came around when I was like in the I was like entering high school kind of. Before that, I was G3 because I'm the third George in my family. My grandfather was George, my dad was George, I'm George, G3, which was probably one of I could have just ran with that. But what's crazy is a friend of mine is actually G3 now, and he's also George, and he's also the third in his family, and we have the same best friend. Like,
Did he get his name from you?
no.
Wow.
He didn't even know I went by that when he started doing music. But it was just crazy. And it's just like we're linked because of this one person. And I was just in my head like, bro, did you not make friends with anybody else with any other name? Because like your best friend from your best friend from your neighborhood is named George. The best friend that you met in school is named George.
We're
You're
not
just
talking
like,
about a big
Georges must be
populated
cool as fuck.
place.
Yeah,
Like, we're
like,
talking about how many like
small ass Flint. Like it's not even a lot of Georges our age.
for real.
Like
It's rare to even see a George.
yeah, I try to give that name away. I be like, no, don't call me that. Call me Sean. Like it was the whole other thing. But like, yeah, so it was just very ironic that he was also the third, and we have the same best friend. It's like we were in a parallel universe, but at the same time. Like,
Well, dude, I mean, I would look at it as like one of those beautiful little synchronicities of the universe, I suppose. Like, what are the fucking odds
What
of another
are the-
dude?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
crazy.
wild that even could happen.
Yeah.
Like, bro, your rap name is what now?
right. It's wild. But yeah, so that was the weird like thing. So I started off as G3. My cousin was J Kid at the time. And then he retired that name for whatever reason. But he said it in one of his raps that was like really, really cool to me. So I went to school and I rapped that rap to other people like it was mine because I wanted to feel as cool as he looked when he said it.
You memorized
So I
the
was
whole
J
thing?
Kid for like, I used to memorize lyrics like a motherfucker. My thing, when I got started writing music, it was because I heard a song and I was thinking like, nah, it'd be a lot cooler if he said it this way. So I started by rewriting other people's verses, and then that graduated to me just taking instrumentals and writing verses of my own. So at first I would just rewrite other people's verses. I would write their verse and throw my name in there or switch a line and make it seem like it was about me. And then I just started writing like full verses, but I would never write more than a verse until I got kind of older. Like as far as putting songs together, that probably came more so like late middle school, high school. But like as far as just putting words together or trying to say punchlines that I thought were cool, 8, 9.
Were you passing
10.
it off as your own the whole time?
Oh, when I was running around with his rap? Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like,
I was J Kid. I took over his name just because I liked that verse.
but I mean for the whole 8 years. Because you're
for
saying
when
you
I was a
weren't
kid?
writing
Oh,
until...
No. I wasn't even telling people I was rapping. I wasn't
Okay.
I wasn't even in my circle of friends trying to rap and like let them know I did it. It was kind of just something I did in my room when I was done with my homework, because I was one of those kids that kind of got their work done fast, so I just had time at the end of class, so I would finish my little paper, hand that in, and then I would draw or I would just write, in the back of the notebook in the pages I knew I wasn't going to get to in this school year. And then I would just rewrite verses. And that was just my shit.
You kind of like started with the Weird Al method in a way.
Yeah, it was weird, man. Like, if I could pinpoint like the moment I wanted to start rapping, it was like a little bit after my mom passed. My mom passed when I was 8. And I remember just putting myself in my room and not really wanting to do anything. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I wasn't really eating. It was like a good like month before I even started like speaking to people again. And like my grandparents were kind of lenient at that time because, as a kid, if you got to go to school, you just got to take your ass to school. But, they saw that I was grieving and they kind of like let me have my grieving process. So shout out to them for that. But it was a long time before I even wanted to interact with like humans because there was nothing somebody could tell me that was going to bring my mom back. So I locked myself in my room pretty much for the majority of the day unless I had to put something in my stomach because I was weak or I had to go to the bathroom or whatever. But in that time, in that room, I had my radio and I had the Feel So Good single. And it was Mace and it was Diddy. And I remember the video because they was like dancing. They had the shiny suits and they were happy. And that was the only thing that I could think of that made me feel like happy. So I'm like, oh, I want to do this. I want to put words on a beat and just bring people some kind of joy in life. So that was kind of the moment where I told myself, you know what, I am going to do music in some kind of way.
Because you just felt that was a way you could express
Yeah,
emotion.
Because if it helped me at that moment where I felt like fuck humanity, as an 8-year-old, you know what I'm saying? Like I was getting ready to write everybody off as an 8-year-old. So I feel like if music kind of helped me get out of that like really dark moment, out of that thought process, out of those feelings, then I needed to do something to kind of give back to music or give other people an opportunity to hear music that lifts them out of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I always try to motivate people with my music for a similar reason. I mean, I just feel like the music has this power that other things don't have. It's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
I heard a quote once that's like that I can't remember exactly how it goes, so I know I'm paraphrasing, but it's like that people look crazy when you watch them dancing only if you don't hear the music.
Yeah.
And I know that's not it, but the whole idea is it gets at like if you don't see how music is guiding people, you don't even truly understand it. If you don't hear the music, you don't get it. Like, music has this power that's, I think, beyond a lot of things, beyond language even. I mean, you can love songs that are in different languages.
Totally different language, yeah.
Yeah, and that is a whole thing that blows my mind. Or even the way that you see, like, I've seen these older gentlemen on TikTok that are UK rappers that are very popular. And that can't happen without that barrier being broken. And music is what's happening there. It's the music that makes those people connect with everyone. Right. They're just, whatever they're doing. I came up with this live on the podcast, and I like to say it now. It's my new theory. It's kind of, I think it goes along the lines of the conversations you had with your grandma. I like to think of it like a life worst lived is a life where intuition is not in tune with the universe. I think to live a good life, you want to live by your own intuition, but your intuition has to be in tune with what's actually happening around you. And that's the hard part, is figuring out how to balance that. Yeah. That's how I like to look at it. So, and yeah, I just think I like to put that in my music. I like to put that, I think music is like the one equalizer, man. I like to put whatever it is that can bring people together and just make people do what we're doing now and just talk to each other and have a good time, man. Yeah. Like, I just want to make that a thing in the universe, if that's possible. And I think music's one way to do it. I think music's one of the most powerful ways to do it. And that's great that you had that experience early on, because I imagine that changed your whole life. I mean, it's a tragic way for that to happen. I'm so sorry to hear that happen to you, but you have to imagine that you wouldn't be you without everything that led to now. And it's just, man, it's wild, the things that change us, I suppose. Like, what happened. I can't imagine how something might change me in 2 months from now. You know, it's wild. The world is a crazy fucking
crazy,
place,
wild, random occurrence.
You can't predict anything.
Yeah, like, there's so much shit that's just, that you could never see coming in a million years, or you'd never guess.
And those are the things that truly change you the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, my connection to music is very strong. I can't imagine what my life would be without it. To me, too, along the lines of what we're saying, it allows me to express myself in a way that I can't express myself in any other way, which that's what I truly love it for the most, I think, is there's times when I write a song and I can't even, like, put into words what it exactly is. Like, I'd rather just show you the song than me even try to. Yeah. Like, you just need to hear.
I can't even give you the preface. Like, I don't even know how to prepare you for what you about to hear. Just listen.
Yeah. I don't even know what I did here. Just check this out, like, please.
No, so, I was recently writing a song. Like, do you know how sometimes you can hear a song and it automatically takes you back to the moment you first heard it?
Oh, yes.
It's like a time portal. Like, it just
like looking at a picture.
Yeah. And I was writing a song called Life in Rhymes. So it's basically like different projects that came out or songs that came out during my life where I can, like, literally pinpoint what I was doing when I first heard this. Like, I know exactly where I was the first time I heard 50 Cent in the club. I remember exactly, I was watching 106 in Park. I was sitting down on my auntie's couch or whatever, watching it with my cousins. I remember hearing that version. Then I remember my cousin getting the album and us listening to the song and me singing the edited video version and him sitting there like this, waiting until the part that wasn't edited came up so I could look stupid saying the edited words while he's just looking at me like, no, that's not how the real song goes. Like, it's almost like he set it up like a prank. Like, oh yeah, we about to get him. Like, if cameras were popular back then, he would have recorded that and that would have been on YouTube somewhere for the world to see years later. But it's almost like I know exactly, like, that's 10 different moments of my childhood that I could pinpoint just to 50 Cent in the club. So imagine the same thing that's going on with the albums that came from there. That came like College Dropout. I know where I was the first time I heard the Black Album. I know where I was, like, the first time I heard a lot of different things. So I kind of was writing this song kind of just trying to pinpoint, like, these are albums that kind of shaped how I see time. Because I'm like, okay, well, this happened in my life, and that was between this album and this album. And this happened, and that was between when this song came out, and I remember her because the first time I saw her, this song was playing in the back of my head. So that had to be around the time where it was on the radio all the time, blah, 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 blah. By the time I met her, streaming was popping. So I remember the song that was on my playlist. Like, I can really map out my entire life journey based off of what I was listening to when shit happened. So
Yeah.
I was like, man, if I condense this could be a really cool song. So I'm in the process of writing Life and Rhymes right now. And hopefully I get it done before the end of the summer because I'm planning on dropping like early fall, end of the summer type
Is it a
shit.
whole project?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know
Yeah.
I've seen some things on Facebook about this, but that's as much as I know about it. So I
That's
guess
as much as
with
anybody
everything
knows,
you've
really.
said now, is there anything else we can know about this project?
Oh yeah. So let's do the whole deep dive on it. It's called "It's Not You, It's Me."
Okay.
And what's the first thing you think of when you hear that phrase? Like, it's not you, it's me.
Well, I would think
When
of a
do people
relationship.
normally say
I
that?
would think a relationship immediately.
Right.
Like it's someone saying to their significant other, "I'm sorry, it's not you, it's me." Like probably a breakup. Relationship, probably a breakup. That's how I would. Yeah.
And that's the first impression I want people to get when they hear the title. But it's a totally different experience when I break it down. So I spent a lot of my life kind of people pleasing, for lack of better words, right? I've been minimalizing myself, trying to make sure I don't take up too much space in a certain area, or, I just don't want to be the person that's in the way. So a lot of the times I would prioritize what other people want or how I think they might feel over how I felt. So this project is about me changing that dynamic and kind of rerouting how I think, kind of rewiring my brain, like we talked about earlier, to where I'm not necessarily spending so much time trying to please people. I'm spending more time pouring into my own happiness and making myself the priority. So when it comes to my priorities, it's not you, it's me. So that's where the title really comes into place. And that's why I chose that title, because it's something that you can hear and you automatically form your opinion about what it means. And then you listen to the project and it's like, that's nowhere near. Why did you name it this? That doesn't fit, but it does when you tap in, and then when people watch this interview and then they hear why this sounds the way it sounds with that title, it's a mind fuck, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I took a lighter approach to my actual writing process. It's not as heavy as a project as Malcolm Y or some of my projects in the past have been. And I feel like with it being an easier listen, it needed to have some kind of deeper meaning behind it, so it still felt like me. Like, it didn't feel like I was losing myself to blend in. It's like, I'm going to be listenable. I'm going to give you the songs you can put in the car or get dressed to or just listen to socially. But the motif of the album, or the hidden meaning, is still going to mean something, whether you hear it on the first listen or whether you just put it together when you hear me explain it somewhere.
So is there never really a point in the album when you're saying that, then, when you're really laying it out? Like, there's not a single track called "It's Not You, It's Me." Right?
That's the intro.
Oh, so it is there.
Yeah.
But are you
yeah.
laying it out right there? Like, is it something that is up for people to interpret, or do you kind of lay out the idea of the project in the intro, is what I'm asking?
It's throughout the project. So in the beginning, it's kind of about the beginning of the rewiring process. One of the first lines I say in the project is, I'm relearning shit I was supposed to know. So it's like, that you can't make everybody happy. But I spent so much of my life trying to make everybody happy. So now it's like, damn, I'm learning how to take care of myself, because they're going to have their opinion anyway.
Right.
It's like, in your 30s, you shouldn't be learning that lesson. You should know that. You should have learned that somewhere in your late teens, 20s, somewhere in there. You don't learn that shit when you're 30. But I'm saying that because it's like, I really had to make a conscious decision, like, recently, that, I can't keep living my life for other people. So that's kind of the first words that I even say on the project. And then I have a song called Something Different, where it's not until the second verse, because the first verse is, opening up the vibe. But in the second verse, I talk about, like, the balance of life. And it's like if I get something right, the way that my pessimism work is like, oh, I'm stressing about the next thing because everything can't go right. So if I got this perfect over here, I'm stressing about something else. If I focus over here, I'm neglecting something else. Like I had a problem kind of balancing things, and I literally say that in the song. If it goes right, then I stress something different. Focus over here, then neglect something different. Like it's just how I noticed my pattern was in the past to kind of me trying to rework things. So it's a subtle way to kind of keep that song into the bigger picture, because it's not like I'm just going full songs saying, hey, I'm not focusing on you no more, it's me, and beating on my chest. But it's like I hide certain things to where if you're listening for them, you'll see them, you'll find them, and then the whole picture makes sense. If you're just enjoying the music, just enjoy the music, you know what I'm saying? Because you're not the kind of person that sits down and dissect things anyway. You just want some music that you can enjoy, and if that's your journey, that's how you want to enjoy the album, that's how you want to consume it, by all means, I have no problem with that. But if you want to get that deeper like understanding, just listen to all the songs and focus on the sentences and the metaphors that lead back to what I said the whole project was about. And it's a totally different experience.
This beautiful thought about what we were saying at the beginning of this podcast about subliminal messaging. And you're probably getting a lot of those people with subliminal messaging right there.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
You're already doing it.
And I didn't even have to tell people to drink more water. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm telling people to focus on this.
That's what I'm saying. You see?
That's crazy.
Yeah, you're doing, because I was saying, you got to do it in a positive way. How's it possible? You just showed me the way. You're already doing it.
Figured this. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was subliminally messaging.
It's probably just something you were feeling in your soul, and it just happened to happen in the music, right? Like it was like, oh, I guess this is what this.
No, because I was going through a lot of shit in like actual everyday life that was kind of just getting me to that realization. It was like, you know what? I've been doing a lot of things wrong. I stopped myself from walking in rooms where I would have been welcome just because I felt like I didn't work hard enough to get there. And that was kind of a self-esteem thing. And I really just been looking at how I've been moving through life, and I kind of just got to a point where it's like, okay, if the things that you thought you were supposed to be doing haven't gotten you the results that you felt like you should have, maybe try something different. Maybe try something that doesn't feel like it drains so much energy from you. Try just being you and see where that gets you. Because if you lose being yourself, all right, you tried your best, you know. But if you lose being someone else's version of something, it's always going to be in the back of your head like, fuck, I should have just did it the way I wanted to.
Yeah.
And it's almost like having people on your team. It's like, I do so many things on my own because if I lose, oh, well, I just wasted my time. I wasted my money. But if I had people that believe in me and they dedicate their time to stuff, and then we lose as a team, I'm like, fuck, I was supposed to be leading y'all to victory. Like, now I feel bad because I made y'all waste y'all time with me. So
I've noticed that's a vibe when I was in a band for a little bit. That was definitely like the difference between being a solo performing artist as opposed to being in a band. That's cool when you're on stage because you feel like more obligated to be cool because you got a whole you're all up there doing your best.
Yeah.
So that made me do better, I felt like. But the other part of it was that, it's like you just feel like fuck, dude, I can't even show up to practice like 20 minutes late, yo motherfuckers.
Yeah,
like,
because I'm
damn.
letting everybody down. And that's kind of
like, y'all know I'm a rapper.
Right.
You hired a rapper.
I show up late, you don't know. But yeah, that was kind of like another thing about like me and my friends. Like I'm the kind of person that where if I feel like you're dedicated to something, I'm going to give you the energy that I felt like you would need to keep going and whatever, because that's the kind of person I wanted to have in my corner.
Yeah.
So, like when my friends were throwing open mics and stuff like that, and they were like paying people from out of town to, you know, come be part of their shows and stuff like that, I wasn't in my head like, oh, well, they need to pay me too. If you paying people, I should get paid too. I was like, oh, no, for real? This is your draw? Okay. What do you need? You want me to go up there and perform some stuff? Like if the open, and my friend got to a point where if the open mic list was bombing, he would kind of just throw me up there to like warm the crowd back up, because he knew the kind of energy I would bring to the room, because he's seen me do it millions of times. So like I was so invested in his idea of what the open mic scene should look like. I was there every week. Like it was my show. I was promoting it every week. Like it was my show because in essence, I felt like it was. My mans was putting on this show I wanted to support. The same thing with the podcast. Like the reason I joined the Laid Back podcast is because Fig was, he had an idea. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is what you need. All right, bet. So, when I was there, it was every week we was having a podcast. I'm right there. Some of the people that the podcast started with didn't have the best attendance, and I was still like, oh, fuck it. We here. Even if it was some episodes where it was just me and him. Fuck it. I wasn't in the intro. I made the beat for the intro just because they needed some intro music. You know what I'm saying? If they was playing other people's music, it's copyright claims. Oh, damn, now I can't put it on YouTube or I can't monetize it because we have music that we don't own playing. So I'm like, oh, fuck it. I know how we get around that. I'm going to just make y'all beat for the intro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was really just one of those people where it's like, okay, if this is what we need and it's something I can do that's not taken out of my pocket, it's not taken from me to give you this, cool. I do the same thing with things that I know as far as like mixing or as far as stuff goes. A lot of people come to me because they trust what I can do with their music. But a lot of times that they ask me a question, I just answer it because my granddad used to always tell me knowledge is one of the only things that you can give away and still have. If I give you $5, it's not that I don't have $5 somewhere, but that particular $5 bill, I don't have anymore.
Yeah, people
If
just
I
have
tell
this...
you something, I give you a tip about something, I still have that tip in my head.
Well, I think people know that. They just have this famine mentality. Like, I can't tell you the best advice because you're going to go use it. And then you're going to take all my resources. And it's like,
no, I had a lot of clients that, was rocking with me for whatever. And they got their own setup and then they don't come by as much anymore. And I'm not mad at them like, oh, fuck, you're taking money out of my pocket. And I'm like, oh, you're finding a way to be self-sufficient.
Well, that's exactly why would I be mad?
Yeah, like, why would I be mad at that? If you could find a way to be self-sufficient or even if you could find a way to make money off of that, and now you can capitalize off of it. I'm like, oh, damn, I remember he used to ask me for tips. Now let's go. I see what you did with it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I have the same information. If I didn't do what you did, I can't be mad that you did it.
Yeah. Well, and it can even go both ways. You can see them doing things, and they'll always I feel like there's a good karma that happens there too. Like just by you helping that person, like you're gonna get help along the way.
Yeah, I mean, because it's timing. I feel like timing is more important than a lot of the things that people put a lot of like pressure on themselves about. But people will tell you all the time, Oprah didn't get her big break until she was this age. Jay-Z was this age before he started popping. You know what I'm saying? Everything doesn't really happen on the same kind of time schedule for everybody.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
That's the thing too, is the much as you try to line yourself up with the people you idolize or the people that you feel like are dominating whatever, you got to look at their origin story too. Like, okay, you met him when he was popping or when he was on his way to popping, but it was a long little stretch of time before that. It's not too many people that just woke up and was like, I'm a rap today. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a lot of people that find success that way.
Well, we were kind of talking about this briefly beforehand, and I think in my mind, maybe the reason people do it is because it's always now. It's hard to conceptualize like the past and the future. It's always right now.
Right.
So we see people how they are right now, and that's how we identify them. Mm-hmm. But I was getting at it beforehand about how whenever we see anything, whenever we see a person that's successful, we see them as what they are right now. We don't even think about what they were beforehand. Very similar to what you just said. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just feel like it's almost human to do so, because maybe it's the now thing. Maybe it's just like, I see Mark Wahlberg right now. I don't see Mark Wahlberg when he was 18 years old as a struggling actor. I don't see Steve Jobs when he was 28 still trying to make Apple work or whatever it is. I don't see Bill Gates in his garage at 29, 30 years old. I don't see all these things. None of us did, and none of us do. And it's so hard to even conceptualize it because we only know those people because they were so successful. And
a lot of times, like those people that are successful, we kind of make them these anomalies in our brain, and we kind of just, I don't want to say dehumanize them, but we mystify them. Because think about all of the celebrities that you know, and just ask yourself if they have brothers or sisters.
Right.
We don't fucking know unless they're also famous, right? So, or unless you see a family picture of them when they were a kid or something like that. Like, I remember having a conversation with my girl, and we were like, Donald Glover, is Danny Glover his dad? Like, and then we had to look at the family tree, and then oh shit, he got a sister? Oh damn, he got a brother? Like, we see the other kids in this picture of him and his mom, and we're like, damn, I never even knew he had siblings.
Was Danny Glover his dad?
Danny Glover's not his dad. He's actually a junior, so his dad is Donald Glover.
I was pretty sure it wasn't, but I'm glad to hear you confirm it.
Yeah, so, you know, and it's one of those things where it's just like, you know, if we could name a bunch of people, I can go. Chamillionaire was one of my favorite rappers at one point in time. I don't know if he had brothers or sisters. In my head, he was just this really great freestyler from Houston, and he was a really dope rapper and blah, blah, blah. Like, we don't know anything from before these people get popping, and that's the thing. That's where that mystique kind of comes into play. And really, at some point in the back of my head, I felt like being so to myself was developing some kind of mystique. But when I really look at everything, it's kind of just making it easier to count me out because I'm not on the scene as much. Or it's easier to forget about me because I'm not at the parties or I'm not at the shows and I'm not immersing myself into the scene the way that I should be. And it's not because I feel like I don't belong there or I'm still doing the thing where I'm not walking in the rooms where people actually want me. It's kind of just like I see the game and the way it's being played, and I just can't really see myself getting down with like pretending to be cool with people just because they're popular. Like, you know, that's the part of it that kind of
The politics of it.
Yeah, like that's the part that kind of turns me off of a lot of things. But I'm like, just recently I went out at Cloud Bay Bro show, and then I went to a party with a bunch of people that I knew from high school, and it was just like real genuine love everywhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how sometimes you see somebody you see somebody you know of, and you give them a high five, and it's like, oh yeah, man, it's good to see you. But I was in situations where people was like, no, dude, you're here. Let me pull you to the side, bro. I missed you. Like, you don't really hear that until you're in front of people. Like, I don't really know they miss me. It's easy for me to sit back and be like, oh, no one's engaging with my post. They don't care about me anymore.
Right.
It's so easy for me to do that. I had those thoughts at the house. Oh, damn, I done posted this. I got 7 likes. I remember a couple years ago, they was begging me to drop a part 2 to Malcolm Y. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy for me to just try to guess how people feel about me. And then I go out there and I'm totally fucking wrong. Like, these people love me. It's just they don't see me enough to act on it or to say it or anything. And I'm not giving them the opportunity to because I'm in the fucking house all day.
Well, and you're comparing yourself to other people, and you're doing that through metrics. Like, oh, I don't get these likes, so that's what means. Yeah. When, like, that's such a recent way of even thinking about shit. That's what gets me about, like, the fact that we think that
I
is
don't
wild.
even have the same likes because if I look at it, how much time does this person spend on Facebook? This person is actually engaging with other people.
Yeah.
The algorithm is showing him the people because, oh, you actually talk to people. So here, I'm going to make people talk to you. I don't talk to people. I will call you. I will text you. I'm not a social media, let's be friendly kind of person. Like, I'm the kind of person that's like, you know, we call and talk for 2 hours because we haven't spoken so long. We got so much new shit to say. I'm that person. I'm the text, we'll send memes back and forth kind of guy. But, you know, like, what I've social media, that's not my, like, strong suit. And it's weird because I'm a fucking rapper. I'm supposed to be in people's face all the time. But being in people's face just feels so weird instinctively. Like,
I don't know. Like, okay, so for one, I want to say, like, Seth Stoles, for example. He has music that he drops, but he doesn't have, like, a ton of social media presence. He's not dropping stuff and posting all over TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. He's just posting his art and being very casual about it. But when I do podcasts with that guy, tons of people tune in, like, just local people follow him, probably because what we're talking about, because they know him in person. Yeah. And they just are like, that guy's my friend. I like that guy. Yeah. And that's why they're tuning in. So I feel like I'm the same way as you. I'm a little bit of a hermit, and I lock myself inside of this room. And
so fucking easy to do.
It's very easy.
It's so easy.
I mean, I try not to mention it a million times, but this podcast is heading to Chicago very soon with Ruse. And yes, and I feel like that's going to force me out of the shell because there's going to be so much happening outside of that little room that I'm in. I can't just lock myself in there. It's going to give me more inspiration for the art, and I can only imagine the amount of people that are inspired that are around there. So it's just like it's a whole lot of things that I can tell myself why not to do it. But like, yeah, man, there's it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Why did I bring that up? I bring it up a million times. I forgot why I brought it up.
We was talking about how like the mystique of being alone or being by yourself is certain things.
And it's tough because collaboration's a big thing too. So I feel like collaboration is so integral to growth. It's ridiculous. Like you can tell yourself all day, I'm going to be the guy that's going to do everything himself, but only to some extent can you actually be that person. Like, how do you think money is actually made? You know?
Nah,
you have to eventually start incorporating other moving parts. And I'm talking to myself as I say this, believe me. Like,
no, you talking to me too, because I follow like producer, like, pages on Instagram. I follow producer culture on YouTube. Like it's a lot of stuff. Like I try to, as far as my online blueprint goes, I spend a lot of time talking to other producers.
Yeah.
Not so much time talking to other rappers or other artists, but other producers. I feel like it's a very collaborative kind of energy between producers. Like I feel like at the grand scheme of things, there's more producers that want to see each other win than rappers that want to see each other win. That's just my personal, you know what I'm saying, my personal bias. It might not be that way at all, but from what I experienced, that's what it seems like.
Sounds
so I
right.
spend a lot more time talking to producers and building with producers. And then I was listening to a podcast where he was like, you know what, you think you're the man because you rap or you sing and you mix and you do all of these things yourself until you move to LA and there's 5 people just like you and they're sharing an apartment because there's not enough opportunities for all of these people to get their big break at the same time. And I was just like, damn. Okay, don't move to LA. Like, like I was just in my head. But, you know, when you think about it, a lot of people feel like, oh, if I get good at everything, I don't need anybody else. But it's like, okay, cool. But you have to stand out in some kind of way because there's still people that do all of the things you do. And it might be some people that do those things better. You know, the chances are, as many people as there is on the planet, there's somebody that's doing all of that shit better than you do. How are you going to outwork them? How are you going to make sure that when that opportunity slides by, you get to grab it before they do?
Yeah.
Like, you got to still find some way to be bigger than life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to find some way to be undeniable. Kanye West was very, very adamant on the fact that when people gave him a chance, they wasn't going to regret it. Like, the person who backs me is going to be a fucking millionaire because I'm a genius. And he got his break, and then he developed the career that he developed. Some people might not like his antics outside of music, but the music itself is undeniable.
Yeah. We are the stories we tell ourselves, for one thing. I truly believe that. So if the story you tell yourself is that you're undeniable.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I love that one, man. I live by that one. I'm like, because I mean, like, the people who do things right, that's what they're doing, man. They're telling themselves that they're doing shit right. That's the only way they're doing it right. Yeah. Like, there's no way. Man. And it's just like, that's the one thing I can observe from people who do things their own way. And the other thing I wanted to say is that being proficient in being yourself is probably one of the best skills you can have. Like, if you can be proficient in doing things your own way, that's really the skill, because it's not like Frank Sinatra can cover Carrie Underwood. It just wouldn't sound right. No. But both of them are in their own lanes, and they're very good at what they do in their own lanes. And you can do that across any different spectrum of talent. You know, people are just good in different ways.
And I think that's probably why it's such a knock when artists hear other people say, oh, you sound like so-and-so. Because it's like, that person's already there. Like, they already have their imprint. And now you're telling me that there's no space for me because I sound like this person. Like, that's not what you're saying. You're saying, oh, yeah, this reminds me of something that I like already.
Yeah.
But they're hearing, oh, fuck, you think I'm just trying to be somebody else. Like, this isn't really me.
Yeah.
And it's like, No, I just this song reminds me of something I like, man. Calm down.
I always take it as a compliment because I'm just excited that I'm even like, okay, like you're comparing me to that. Like you think I'm on the level of that thing that you like. That's cool. Like,
but I mean, it's a lot of things that swap around too, because it's a lot of people who feel like that's slight, and there's a lot of people who feels like that's one of the highest compliments that you can give them.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's kind of like things are going to happen. You're in charge of how you react to them.
Yeah.
So I get to decide whether that's a compliment or that's a diss. Even with your tone, you can be like, "Oh, you just sound like Drake." Oh, for real? Damn, you think I sound like somebody that got 1 billion streams on Spotify? That's crazy. I'm gonna accept that. No, I'm just saying, like, the singing and rapping shit you be doing, you sound like you trying to be Drake. Oh, you think I sound like Drake? That's amazing. Thank you so much. Now they mad. I can't piss him off. Like, I like doing that. Killing with kindness is a very underrated skill, I think.
Well, I just posted on Facebook the other day, and I think that's a good example of, like, in my mind, if I'd said that to somebody the same way you did, I was being authentically kind. But I think people, like in this day and age, interpret that type of kindness as sarcasm.
Yeah.
But no, like, bro, I'm genuinely telling you, like, no, I'm happy to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
I'm flipping what you're doing. I'm just being nice.
Yeah, it's like,
people don't get it.
I'm choosing to take that as a compliment, and the fact that you're mad at that,
yeah,
it's like, oh, okay, cool. I see what your real intentions were, and that's cool too.
It kind of, it flips the mirror back at them in a way. Yeah, because usually it's just them. They're just upset. That's all that's happening there. The only thing we can control in life is ourselves. That's really what it all boils down to. Like, if you're in that situation, like you said, like, are you going to react in a rude way, or are you going to be kind and just, I don't know. I think it's how you treat people that you dislike and how you act in those situations is probably more of a show of character than the situations you're comfortable
is a show
in.
of character, because like, you treat your friends how you treat your friends. You know, of course you can smile and laugh with them because you feel comfortable around them. You have a relationship with these people. You love these people, or you should if they're your actual friends. But, you know, it's easier to let your guard down around them and give them the benefit of the doubt and give them the good energy because they've shown you in some kind of way that they deserve it.
Yeah.
Or that they can handle it. So on the flip side of things, when it's strangers or people that you don't necessarily have the best rapport with, or even somebody you have friction with in the past, if you can extend them the same courtesies, like, okay, I'm not going to let you get so close to where I feel like you could hurt me, but I'm also not about to go out of my way to try to make your experience any harder than it has to be. And I think that's kind of the character. And I feel like that saves you a lot of energy too, because you don't have to walk around with the chip on your shoulder and thinking about people that probably aren't thinking about you in that moment. You know what I'm saying? If you're harboring hate for somebody, you're spending time thinking about somebody that could or could not be thinking about you too.
The odds are very low.
But you got to think about, you know, what that's taken away from. If I spend more time thinking about this person, I'm spending less time thinking about my family. I'm spending less time thinking about my music. I'm spending less time thinking about my finances. I'm spending even if it's just a second, even if it's 10 seconds of my day, I'm still spending it somewhere that isn't benefiting me at all.
And that's the idea of your tape.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah, I feel like you
Bring
can't.
it around.
Yeah. I mean, it just clicked in my brain as you were saying it, because it really is true. I mean, that's the other thing that I wanted to say. I wanted to mention Chicago when you mentioned that, because to me, that's what I'm doing. I'm forcing it. I'm doing it. I'm making it so it's one of those things where I am not worried about what someone else's version of me is. I don't have all these people around me who I'm comfortable with, and they all know me for what I am, and for some reason that allows me to operate in this certain way. Like, by being in a new place, you're forced into this situation where all of a sudden you're not whoever you thought you were, because none of these people even know who the fuck you are. So
I think a lot of times you figuring it out.
Exactly. And I think that would be a great thing for me as an artist, and I think a lot of people could use a lot of things like that. I think we all get comfortable wherever we're at, and we got to break out of that shell because we identify with the way other people identify us, and that just locks us into some type of position. And, you know, every now and then it's good to get away. So mark my words here. I could regret all this. I might be saying in 2 months, no, take me back, Flint, please.
Yeah. I mean, but I think even if that was something that, that you were experiencing, I feel like you would feel richer for knowing you stepped out there and like that, you know what, I gave it my all. I really tried to do something. I felt like this is what I wanted to do, and then I have that experience under my belt. Nobody can take that away from me.
I agree.
It didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, but shit, I did it. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is a story I can tell later down the line. Hey, this is that. And then, it might be a pitfall that you can tell in that story that's the light bulb for somebody else. Like, oh, fuck, that's what happened out there? Man, so when I move, I can try to avoid this, and, now they can navigate life a little bit better because you shared that wisdom. But in the same breath, I think that complacency is a luxury. Like if you're not where you want to be in life, you can't really afford to be too comfortable or too complacent, because it's like, when are you going to want more, or when are you going to do more? If you're comfortable, what's going to change? Nobody wants to change something that's working for them. So if you feel like, this situation is working for me, I'm getting enough money to pay my bills, I'm going to be fucked if my car breaks down. But as long as my car doesn't break down, I'm good, because I don't have the savings. But who needs the savings until something fucks up? Like, people will really be moving throughout everyday life like it's okay, and there's still so much more to be explored. There's so much more that they could tap into, or that, people who are complacent, you gotta be well off enough to be like, you know what, I'm gonna take my hands off the wheel. Wherever this car goes, it goes. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else kind of has to focus really on where they're going, where they're spending their energy, how they're spending their time. But if you're not at that level, I don't feel like you get to just be complacent. You shouldn't be just chilling. Like, there's shit that's out there for you to get.
Like, depending on if you've accomplished what it is in your mind that you think would be achieving, I suppose, your life's goal. Because, I mean, I think ultimately that's it, right? That's the reason to get out there and do things. It's like, if you feel like you haven't done whatever your life is, yeah, because that's like torture. It's torture for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine being when I turn 50, when I turn 60, if I haven't done the things that I'm saying I want to do, like the Chicago thing, like what got us into this.
Yeah.
Yes. Because, I mean, if I even waited till I was 45, I would be like, God damn it, I really said I wanted to do it 20 years ago. I could have done it then.
Yeah,
and you just don't want to have that story. That's not a good story.
That's never a good story. And people get tired of hearing that one really quick too.
Right.
People get tired of hearing that really quick. Like, no, I was the man in high school, and then my bum ankle took me out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I've heard that story.
Like, I don't want to hear how you had 35 in the championship game, and you know what I'm saying? Like, but I feel like a lot of people, like, I don't want to say they're scared, but I think a lot of people don't act on their dreams when they have the time or when the opportunity was perfect for them. And then by the time that they start regretting things, they have so many different responsibilities that they can't act the way that they would have in the past. Like, somebody who doesn't have kids could afford to, you know what, I'm about to save all the money I can. I'm going to eat ramen noodles for a month. I'm going to do this because I can make that sacrifice because it's just me. When you have kids and you have a mortgage and shit like that to deal with, those choices kind of get made for you. I'm not about to give my kids ramen noodles for a month straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, once I have certain responsibilities, it kind of limits the space I have to dream with, because I waited until life handed me this other stuff instead of just doing this when I was still free, when I didn't have as many ties or strings and responsibilities. Not saying that once you have responsibilities, life is over, because it kind of sounds like I'm getting there, and I'm not. There's people with kids that do phenomenal work and, that escalate to heights that only some people can imagine. But at the same time, for
there's a lot of
average
celebrities
person,
I didn't even realize had kids.
Yeah. How the fuck do you take... Nick Cannon got 75 kids. Right?
He's the classic example.
Like, how the fuck do you have time to do anything? You're on TV every time I turn it on. Like, where are you spending time with these kids? But yeah, it's just like, a lot of people keep they family life to the side for those reasons, because I need you to see me as the entity that's making me money so I can continue to take care of this family. But people with kids that do amazing things, but a lot of times the average person who's struggling to get by on their own, or maybe they have just enough money to get by, or they're living comfortably, but there's not in the best situation. They just want more, or they want better. A lot of times they can't go out there and take the risks that other people can afford to take because they have so much on that plate. Going back to that team conversation, if I fell on my own, all right, cool, it's just me. But if I fell and I got a family at home that was dependent on this to go through, I'm fucking depressed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's gonna hit a lot harder than just failing on your own and being able to say, oh, you know what, I tried, I gave it my best. When you got so many other people's hopes and dreams riding on you, it just hit a lot different.
Yeah, it's kind of the catch, right? Yeah, there's nothing much you can do. I've heard it described well as like people place roots. That's what a lot of it is. It's just roots, because it goes beyond family. There's many ways you can place roots and just not want to
rise
go
up the ladder
things.
at a certain job, and I can't leave here. I've been here 7 years. I'm the general manager now. Like,
and what do you do? Like, there's really no good answer. That's the problem with those situations is, like, if you have 3 kids and you wanted to be a musician 14 years ago and you're still at it, like, what is the proper answer for that situation?
Right.
If you want to be a full-time musician, what do you do? Who knows?
Yeah, it's and I think there's a lot of situations where people online will tell you, oh, all you have to do is and it's weird to me when people feel like they have a one-size-fits-all answer for anything, really, because it's so many different nuances, and I feel like almost everything is unique. So that's kind of what stops me from being frustrated a lot of times, because sometimes you'd be like, oh, this isn't adding up. And then you can look at the situation like, well, the situation was unique. Last time it added up because these things were in place over here, but these things aren't in place over here. So you got a different result. And it's easier to just compute it that way than, oh, no, they fucked it up because it was me. Or to personalize things. My granddad used to always say, sometimes shit happens. It doesn't always happen to you. And I sat with that for a very long time, because he used that every time he could.
Kind of like
he abused that fucking saying.
The good one, it's the extended version of shit happens.
Yeah, it's like everything, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes things happen. It doesn't necessarily happen to you. It's not a reflection of who you are. The reflection happens when you react, when you decide how you're going to interpret that situation and then put your energy out. That's what determines who you are. But the things that just happen around you, or circumstances or whatever, like, you aren't your circumstances. You are your decisions. You are your reactions, but you aren't your circumstances.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it.
Deep.
That's the answer.
Deep.
That's it. That's what you do.
This is episode 74, the deep dive.
Oh, dude, I do this to everybody. It's kind of incredible how Ruse Radio works. Like, I feel like this might as well be like a philosophy podcast, because I don't know how I pull it off. I want to get Longneck in here and get him to talk about the nature of the universe. That's one of my goals.
That shit would be crazy.
Hey, before I get out of
Is he still around?
I think so. I mean, I'm following him on Instagram, and he still has ladies licking his neck on the regular. So, but he did have a kid, like, last year.
That's such a weird thing to be famous for. Like, yeah, come lick my neck.
He's went hard in that direction. That's what I love. I mean, I got to respect that about it. Like, if there's anything that's so great about something like that, it's the fact that somebody's committing so hard to one bit, right?
Yeah.
Like as a rapper,
later.
I don't know if I could do it. I don't even know if I could stick to one song that I made.
So, you know what? There's a rapper that's literally blowing up because of how hard he stuck to one song. It's a guy named Dear Silas.
Yeah.
He has a song called I'm Not Stressing Today. And he used to go on his page like literally every day and be in a different part of his room or in his house, and he would do the same dance to that part of the song. I ain't stressing today. Hey, I ain't stressing today. So then it got popular. And then Lupita Nyong'o did it. And then she was backstage at one of those shows, and then they put the music in the background while she was doing the dance. Because she saw him do it so many fucking times it's like one of those things. It's just like
Subliminal messaging.
yeah, it got stuck in her head and she loved it, but it got stuck in her head in a good way because it's a mantra. I'm not stressing today. Whatever is going on. And he says that in the song, you know what I'm saying?
Did he make a dance too? Like, was it a special dance?
It was kind of like unique to him.
Right.
So whenever he sees somebody doing a dance, it's like, oh no, you saw me do that. Or the person you saw it from saw me do it. Like I know I'm the catalyst for all of this. So now he's getting shows and he's, you know what I'm saying, selling out venues that he couldn't even get to call him back a couple years ago. But it's because he's literally been promoting the same song for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Every day on his Instagram. And it's amazing. Like I came in probably a year and some change into the journey. So when I see it, when I started following him, I'm like, oh, this is cool. Oh, damn, Lupita did it. Oh, damn, this person's doing it. And it's like people on red carpets doing it. People are, you know what I'm saying, big celebrities are doing it. And it's just like, damn, he got that off of having the patience to say, you know what, this song is the one. It's just not enough people have heard it yet.
Yeah.
But I bet as soon as they do, this is the one.
The story he's telling himself. That's the story he's telling himself. Because if you tell yourself that story long enough and then you fulfill that story, like how does that story make sense? Like if you were at a point in that story and it was a movie that you were watching and you knew the ending of the story, how do you get to that ending?
That's how I write my songs. A lot of times I reverse engineer the shit. I think about how I want it to feel, what I want the hook to sound like, how I want it to come across, and then I just, like in my head, I write bullet points, and then I just make sure I hit those notes throughout my writing process.
That's impressive to me.
A lot of times,
I never write that way.
A lot of times I end up veering somewhere, and then where I veers turns into a bigger, brighter idea. But more often than not, I sit down, I think about what I wanted to feel like, songs that were similar that I could kind of emulate the mood from. You know, what made that song feel like that and how can I bring that to my song? Okay, these drums might not be exactly the same, but they're kind of the same darkness or the same brightness or whatever. So the pattern might be different, but the energy is the same.
So you're thinking a lot about the influence when you go into that. Like, what is this going to sound like? Similar to things that I might like already. That's a lot of what's going into it.
That's part of it. It's also how do I want this to come across? Like I look at it as an artist, I look at it as the producer, and I look at it as the consumer. Like damn near simultaneously.
So that's tough. That's a hard thing to think about at once,
bro. I didn't talk myself out of a lot of stuff. Like I enjoy R&B a lot, but in my head, it's not that I don't like my voice, but it's just that I told myself that my brand doesn't do R&B because I'm tackling all of these super tough topics in my music. I can't come around and be a singer on the next song after I done just talked about police brutality for 98 bars. Like, it's just...
Who says?
Nobody. I did. I was the story I told myself. I told myself I couldn't do that, so then I didn't. But as I've been writing like R&B for other artists and working with other artists, and then sometimes they'll hear the reference in my voice and be like, "Oh, you should keep this. Like this shit's decent. Like this is good." And like I've been kind of opening myself back up to, you know what I'm saying, doing more R&B or R&B feeling records, or at least just singing my hooks and stuff like that. But it started because I always felt like my brand doesn't do this, or I can't do this because of that. And I kind of put myself in a box. I feel like I allowed what I thought people were thinking to create a box for me. So sometimes people will put you in a box. Sometimes we just accept the box we think we're in.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Yes. And that goes with that independent thing, that thing about like trying to focus on yourself and not letting other people do it. Because if you want to be in your own box, you do not want to be in somebody else's box.
Right. And if I'm going to be in a box, I at least need to be able to pick my like furniture.
Yeah. Give me some options.
Right. Like, no, I want the coffee table over there. Like, so yeah, if I'm going to be, you know, categorized or whatever, let me pick the category.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, 100%. But in a way, you are whatever they say you are. And so where's the middle ground there, right? Like, I suppose
it's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah, we got to pick the right boxes. That's what we got to do.
Yeah, check the right boxes, you know.
It's easier said than done.
Wait, I think I was about to say 90, but 90 might not be the number. But it's a big number of things. It's a very high percentage of things that are easier to say than do.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly because your lips don't have that many muscles. Like, there's not that many muscles going on here.
You're thinking too far into this, man. I don't think that's...
It's way easier to say a lot of shit.
Yeah. I actually think you're 100%
I can say
correct.
gynecologist. I cannot go be a gynecologist right now.
There's a whole lot of things. You're right.
Yeah.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
What
That's
the
probably
fuck is
even
that?
easier.
How can I do that? Like, that's
How
not
do you
even
do it?
I don't even know how to measure whether I did that or not. Is it about how fast I can say it? How accurate I can say it?
I don't know. I have to listen to the song again. I'm going to study.
I think it's an
been a while since
adjective.
I've seen the movie.
I think it's an adjective.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. So, but still, how would I do anything in such a way? How do I do something in a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious way? You see?
I don't know. I think that's up to interpretation. Like, somebody might see that and be like, oh, that was okay. Somebody might be like, ooh, that was supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Like, it depends. Like, how does it hit?
Yeah, that's true. We should bring that back into
So
conversation.
many things are subjective, man.
Yeah, I like that word just being used. People know what it means. It's one of those words that even though it's subjective, I think at least Americans. I feel like it's British though too, right?
Yeah,
Mary Poppins British though. They would know that in the UK. They know that in a lot of places. If I said that, I feel like that's a universal one. You know what? I love when people say that in freestyle raps because like I have to think on the spot. Like how can I always think like what I do. I grab the mic and it's gorgeous. Yo, I spit this shit supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Like I try to do multiples as fast as I can.
Yeah.
Because that always blows somebody's mind because they don't even expect you to say the word. There's other crazy words out there people try to give you for freestyles I've seen on the internet. Like it's world's longest words and whatnot. That's the longest word I think anybody really knows, right? Is there any other big word
like across
out there?
the board? I feel like that's the one.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Yeah, because there's nothing else.
That's the one.
There's the there is one people throw out a lot. Something. Oh, I'm not gonna remember it, but it's some type of dystopian and nationalism. Like it's some weird word like that, and it's really long. I'm not gonna remember it on the spot, but there is one that people casually.
I know what
out.
you're saying because
disestablishmentarianism. That's it. Disestablishmentarianism, because that's a big ass word, and people. It really is a big word. It just doesn't. I'm making it sound not as big as it really is.
No, because when you see it spelled out, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like fucking 25
I would hate to
letters.
get this in the spelling bee. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's one. That's like an actual, like, I have a definition as word.
Exactly.
But the supercalifragilistic is more of an idea.
We just know.
Yeah.
It's
And then
a concept. It's a piece of art.
And then that even transcended the movie it came out of, because then you get that Outkast song, the Spotty Yachty Dopalicious. That doesn't happen without supercalifragilistic. You know what I'm saying?
Butterfly effect, man. It's wild. There's so much art that you don't even realize couldn't happen unless it's for. I mean, like even just Kendrick can't happen without Lil Wayne. That alone kind of blows my mind. Like you don't get Kendrick without Lil Wayne. You don't get Eminem without Andre 3000.
Drake doesn't happen without Ja Rule.
Yeah, there's so many. There's so many like wild connections that just.
Chameleonaire doesn't happen without chameleons.
Really? I didn't. I mean, you're right. I never thought about it.
How does he flip his name? Like,
he'd have to at least see one once.
Yeah, like, or at least heard of it. Like, if that wasn't a species, if that species was named anything else, his name isn't Chameleonaire.
Oh, we're so lucky to be in the universe that we're in. Because we wouldn't get Chameleonaire if, like, the universe
Who's
decided.
riding dirty? Like, Lil Gecko doesn't sound as tough as Chameleonaire.
You're
like,
right. It doesn't hit like
there's no
that.
other reptiles that you could flip like that.
Yeah.
He would have had to been like Alligator or something like that.
Alligator's not bad.
Stockadile.
You know what? There's a rapper out there that's
crypto
hearing
trader
these.
called Stockadile.
That's what I'm saying. There's some guy out there looking for a username who just heard you say that. And he's like, yes.
Cut me in whenever you get that big break. Remember where you heard it, man. That's all I'm asking. Just give me a little 5%, little 5%. We
Stockadile coin. I don't know. You might get like the whole creator fund for that, right? If you like, Stockadile.
If it pop off, yeah. When you dropping this?
You got about like a month to make this a real thing, man.
All right, cool.
Stockadile could really work because that's like it's like Dogecoin. It's just like it's an animal, so they're like, oh, that's cute. Crocodile, Stockadile, I'll invest. This is fun.
Yeah.
And just, you're the creator. We're doing this on the podcast, but this is a comedy podcast. That's what I always say. So if anything goes wrong, we're just joking right now. Okay?
Right.
But what I'm saying is pull your money out at the correct time.
Right.
And then everything's good, man.
And we good, yeah.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to give you some advice, mano a mano.
Yeah, we gonna figure that out.
I'm telling you,
gonna
if
figure
you don't
that
take
out.
this idea, I might do it
Because it is my platform. I'm just saying.
Right.
You signed the paper when you got in here.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't mean to step on your toes, but it's a great one. It's a great one. You come up with this stuff all the time?
Man, you'll be surprised how many times I've just sat with people and bounced ideas, and then they've like went and it was like, no, this is a really good one, and wrote it down and like turned it into something. But I'm always kind of like a sounding board for people. I'm always happy to be one of those kind of people because
Like a Rick
if
Rubin.
you make something happen with that idea, cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't feel like I had the passion behind it that you had. And then if somebody takes something I'm actively doing and they just steal it before I can make it happen, I'm gonna be a little pissed. But if we're sitting around bouncing ideas and I give you an idea that can genuinely help you in the field that you're trying to advance in, I'm not mad that you took that and did something with it, because that's the reason you trusted me to have that conversation. We wanted to come up with an idea that was going to take your brand or your business or whatever to the next level. And we had that idea and you did what you did with it. And I feel like that was my purpose in that conversation.
And that's kind of the beauty of the creative process when it comes to that collaboration, right? It's like we can't have those ideas by ourselves. And it's the fact that you were able to supply that allowed them to blossom in that way.
Yeah.
I love being that guy. And I don't know about you, but like to me, that fulfills my whole thing. When I see other people doing things better because they saw what I was doing, or I told them how to do it better. Like either one. Like if I just know, like, oh, they follow me, they probably saw that. Like I just see them doing the thing. I don't get jealous or upset that they're doing what I'm doing. I'm like, yes, they saw the thing. Like I've noticed there's a couple rappers that'll do at least like something similar to what I do where they're lip syncing with the lyrics on the screen now. We should have all been doing that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just that now more than ever, you really need to catch people's attention. And I'm way happier than anything just to see rappers catching on in the area, because we all should be doing that. We should all be promoting our songs with easy to understand standalone content that people can just stumble upon and be like, this is dope.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get to that point when fucking social media is this weird like 30 block Rubik's Cube that none of us know how to work.
And then like when things like TikTok get introduced that kind of like make it easier for people to do that, it kind of makes the idea feel like, oh, everybody's doing it. So like where you're like, oh yes, everybody's doing it. We finally found a way to break into marketing. It's some people that's like, oh, everybody's doing it. I don't want to do that because then I'm gonna be like the other 35,000 rappers that are doing a little bit. I'm gonna do it differently. I'm gonna make people listen to my lyrics.
Do it your way. Like if you're gonna take, like you can settle and find a way to do that thing, but do it your way. Like do it with your own artistic
like you can't take
twist.
back the fact that you saw it.
Yeah.
Like you don't get to just unsee shit. Or there's a lot of shit that I've seen on the internet that I would just delete right out of my fucking brain. But like you can always, like you said, take it, turn it into something that's yours and that feels like you and looks like you. Like
and
when
that's
I was
what
on
I think
TikTok,
people just miss out on that when they get in that mindset of like, that ain't me. Like you're saying. You were on TikTok, what'd you see?
When I was on TikTok, I was trying to do like rap videos or whatever to popular beats, right? I was gonna take beats that we knew from our childhood. I took Aaliyah's Try Again, rapped over that. I took just a couple other beats that were like really popular, and as soon as I put them on TikTok, the sound disappears. Oh, you're using copyrighted material. Okay, cool. I'm gonna start doing skits. And then when I started doing the skits and incorporating them into my videos, I was like, you know what? I don't want this volume just to get minimized. I am going to make my own beat. So then I started rapping over my own beats, and then the skits got more drawn out and they got funnier. Like I got one where I was I guess the guy comes to the studio and he's like really sleepy, and the engineer's like, yeah, I'm getting ready to record. And the dude's like talking in his sleep. So the engineer just brings the mic over to where he's asleep, and then we play the beat and he starts rapping in his sleep. And it's like sleep bars that are in the song and stuff like that. I got another one where a guy was dissing this girl because she didn't call him back all day. And then at the end of the skit, she calls him, and then he's like, oh, yeah, I'm not mad at her no more. We could just delete that. I'm going to record something else. Like, you know, I have these different skits, and I was like, you know what, this feels fun. Like, this doesn't feel like I'm another person just rapping a 16 in my car over a beat that I'm never gonna buy or anything like that. Like, these are uniquely me. The idea was me, the camera work was me, the beats are me. Like, this is me kind of expressing myself in all of my different ways and kind of just getting to be funny and getting to be more than just the rapper.
Yeah, it's
So
cool
that's
that you
why-
got there through limitations too. Like, it's the fact you
Yeah.
couldn't do certain things.
That's the reason I started doing a lot of the shit that I do now. Like, my cousins were rapping way before me. So I was on their heels. Yo, bring me to the studio. Would you bring me to the studio? Never happened. As many times as I sat down and wrote those verses where I was rewriting other people's verses or I was coming up with verses of my own, as many times as I thought I had a really cool punchline, never took me to the studio.
And you were so ready.
I was so happy to just like I would hear the songs that they came back with and was like, ooh, no, this beat is crazy. You should have said this. Like,
You're
like
rewriting their
yeah,
songs.
like I'm in my head, like, oh, this is like I'm pretty much producing like what people would call producing now. I was doing back then, but as a kid, they looked at me like, nah, you just hating. Like, you don't know what you're talking about, going somewhere. And now fast forward, I'm the only one out of that whole group of people that's still like actively doing music and chasing it and shit. But it got me to a point where I was like, dang, man, I can't get in the studio to save my life. And a friend of mine was on the phone with his cousin, and he put his cousin on the phone with me. He was like, all right, so what's your problem? I'm like, man, I got all these bars. I got the beats I want to rap to and everything. I just can't get in the studio. Okay, so what's stopping you from recording yourself? Ding! Fuck.
You just never had that thought
I
process
can record
before.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like 17, 18 when he says this to me. So I'm like, damn, I can record myself. A friend of mine got a USB mic. We started recording ourselves on Audacity. I bought my own mic, or I actually had a church scholarship that paid for my computer and a little bit of leftover like cash money. I was staying with a friend of mine because I moved out as soon as I turned 18 like a dumbass. But I bought a couch, I got that computer, and I saved the leftover money and I bought me a microphone. And I started recording in Audacity at my house. And then from Audacity, I got to a cracked version of some other DAW that I was using. And then from there, I found out J. Cole was using Logic. So then I started using Logic, and I've been on Logic ever since. But my mixes went from being on a DAW that I can't even really manipulate the vocals on to being one that I can manipulate the vocals a little bit and didn't have all the tools, and this was the stolen version, to me actually investing to, you know what, I want my sound to be better. Let me figure out how I can do this. And then getting so good that other people would come to me to get their sound right. And then that turned into me being able to open my own studio. And you know what I'm saying? Like, all of this shit happened because I saw an obstacle and I was like, no, excuse me. Let me just get past you real quick. I'm trying to go over here and you blocking my way.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I've done my whole career is like, I'll run into a wall and I figure out how to get over it. The only thing that I haven't like fully said, yeah, fuck this, let me walk around it, is the marketing and the social media shit. Like, those are my weak points because I feel like I'm a personable, like I'm easy to talk to when you have me in your space and I can talk to you. But when I'm talking to everybody at once, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to say.
That's why I love doing this.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Because it allows me to do exactly that. I can do both at once. I'm talking to you, and I'm kind of also talking to them.
yeah.
So it works.
No, you got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. But it's just like, I was trying to figure out a way that felt like me to do all of that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to, the last thing I want to do as an artist is look corny.
Yeah, right.
You don't want to look corny. You don't want to feel corny.
And you don't want to do the thing that everybody else is doing.
Yeah, you don't want to be a cookie cutter. It's so many things that you just don't want to do. And then, like, being yourself is somewhere in the middle of all that. Like, if it's a big Venn diagram of shit that I don't want to be,
Right.
myself is in the middle of all of these cross sections. So it's like, yeah, I want to be, you know, I want to be funny on social media, but I don't want to be corny. I want to be engaging, but I don't want to be annoying. I want to be, you know what I'm saying, a household name. I want you to recognize when you see my name on your screen, but I also don't want to be the person that tags 75 people in one post because I feel like that's the best way to make sure all of y'all see my post. So it's like, damn, either I get the low reactions because I didn't tag anybody, or I tag everybody, and then a lot of people who didn't care to be tagged start, you know what I'm saying, unfollowing for whatever reason.
I think the answer lies in what you said before, though, probably. It probably really is just like getting your face in front of people in real life. Because if those people, if they knew you just once, if they're like, oh, this guy tagged me, he's that guy that I met one time. Oh, this is pretty dope. Like, but if they didn't have that one interaction with you, it's just a random stranger that just tagged them or something. So I feel like there's a lot of that, too. Because, dude, I'll say this. I remember. I'm never going to forget this guy now. On my birthday, the first notification I saw at 6 a.m. in the morning was a guy that said, happy birthday, and then posted, go stream. Like, it literally, there was just... like, there was just a couple spaces.
Happy birthday. Go listen to my shit. Take this song for your birthday.
Shameless promo. And I will never forget who that guy was. I'm always going to see him as the guy who fucking promoted his music on his happy birthday. And it was the first one I saw at 6 in the goddamn morning. I saw that. I was like, I deleted it. I deleted the post. Like, this does not even belong on my wall. Get out of here. And then I went right back to bed.
That's why you got to wait an hour before you touch your phone. So you woke up immediately, went to your phone. You was pissed for the rest of your birthday. Like, this motherfucker thinks this is time to promote your shit. This is my day, goddammit.
Fuck me up, man.
See?
You can't do all that.
If you would have waited an hour, you would have looked.
You're right.
Look at him trying to plug himself. Anyway, back to the people I know and love.
Right. I did it, and then I went back to bed like, fuck, goddamn, I gotta stop thinking about this bullshit. Right? Like, I had to force myself to just ignore it.
That's when you got to be really aggressive in a way that doesn't hurt anything. Like, you got to throw something, but it's something really soft, like a sock. So you can just chuck it as hard as you want to and nobody gets hurt.
Oh, that's probably, it's like a miniature form of those like paintings where they're throwing it at the wall. It's just something nice and light that you can...
Would you ever do smash therapy?
What's that?
Or you go in a room and just break shit?
Yes. Dude. Oh, yeah. I would do that today, right now. Yeah.
Are they open? I will go right.
Are you inviting me?
I will go right the fuck now.
I didn't even realize that was something I could pay and go do.
Yeah. Smash therapy it's a thing. So they have like old computers and old TVs and just like shit, and they hand you a baseball bat and you just have at it for however long you book it. Or I think they call them rage rooms.
Okay.
Rage room.
Rage room sounds really familiar.
I think smash therapy is like the name, like the thing, but the places you can go are called rage rooms. Like if you were trying to type it in and find one.
Dude.
Rage room.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
Like you give me a baseball bat and just a TV. Is it? What kind of stuff are we talking?
Bunch of shit. Vases, old electronics, just shit that will shatter when you hit it.
Yeah.
And give you that gratification of, like, you know what I'm saying?
Because, like, I know for a fact I'm one of those, like, physical people. Like, that is a release for sure. That's why I like performing, because I get this type of energy I don't get nowhere else. Like, I'm moving around. I'm into it. Like, if I like running with my dog because I like doing that thing. I like working out because I like doing that thing. If you gave me a thing to smash...
Oh, I'm doing it.
I'm doing that so hard right now. Like, I will smash that thing to bits. I want to. Oh, dude. Oh, you just got me all excited just thinking about this.
Do that shit, man. Do that shit.
I wonder how much it costs. Like, is it like $100 for maybe 30 minutes? Like, it just probably costs per thing. I don't even
know if it's that expensive.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's that expensive for real. But
it's got to be around here somewhere. But in Chicago, I know I'll find it.
Oh hell yeah!
It's gonna be
Chicago's
everywhere.
a big city. Yeah. It's probably a million of them in Chicago.
I wonder what kind of people would even work at that type of place. That'd be interesting.
Would it be crazy if there was like some really cool like Zen people?
Right. They just smash all day, so they love they just love life.
We got you booked in room 2B. Come on down, man.
Dude, I could work if you worked there, you probably could smash for free.
Probably.
That's why they'd be so chill.
Probably.
I would like that.
I wonder if it's a sex addict listening to this. Like, I do smash therapy all the time. I smash every chick in my like. Somebody heard smash therapy was like, I've been doing that my whole life. Like, no, I'm talking about rage rooms. You horny bastard.
When I hear smash referred to that way, I just immediately jump to Jersey Shore and fist bumping, dude. That is smashing to me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's something Snooki
That
says.
was a weird show. Like, they didn't even do anything. They just lived there.
That's kind of one of the best reality shows there is. That's all you really have to do, man.
Just live somewhere and be popular.
The characters are what make the show.
Yeah, for sure.
There's so much so that they still do Jersey Shore, and they're like, what, 45 now?
They're up there.
They're full-on adults.
Yeah. Like, you should not still be behaving this way. But
Yeah. Like it's the
But
same
I get it.
show.
You get paid to. So.
Exactly. So it's one of those things. I remember. I will never forget. So maybe you'll remember this because I brought this up to somebody and they didn't remember. And I feel like if you were really watching the show when it came out, you'd remember this. When they did the episode ending where Snooki was about to get punched, and then you had to wait till next week to see what happened. Like you saw a dude who's about to punch Snooki. It cuts out.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, like that's unforgettable. To me, that's staple Jersey Shore's influence on culture right there. They no other show would show a girl about to get punched and use that as their plot.
Yeah. Tune in next week to see how hard she gets hit.
Yeah, because everybody was looking online like uncensored Snooki punch.
Oh shit!
I know. I googled that. Okay,
it was on YouTube
and
in
it
the early
was on
days
YouTube.
trying to find that shit.
I found it. It's probably still there.
Probably with 8 billion views.
Yeah. I mean, so to me, that's real TV. That's what I found when I was growing up. I mean, I guess reality show kind of said it, or not reality show, the Real World. That's what I mean to say.
Yeah.
The Real World, and then there was
Road Rules.
Yeah, they had that Road Rules, and then there was some addiction show that they did back then. I swear they had some type of addiction thing. Maybe it was My Strange Addiction, but I feel maybe that was MTV. I swear.
Yeah. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, but back then, man, that's where Theo Von comes from. Shout out Theo Von. He was on Road Rules a long time ago. I would do so well on one of those shows. Let me just say. I would just do exactly what I do now, but just exaggerate a little bit. I would know exactly what to do.
And you got an MTV hat on, which is crazy. Which is crazy. We didn't plan none of this shit.
It's on brand.
But all of that shit used to happen on MTV. Like back when they decided, you know what? Videos aren't really doing it. Let's just put cameras on real people and see how they act together.
It worked out so well.
Man.
I wonder how much guidance, because nowadays it's too much. You can just feel how fake the shit is.
Remember the dating shows that used to be like that? Like Next, where you get off a bus and somebody just Next.
I love those shows.
that shit used to have me crying.
Yeah.
Man. Me and my cousin used to watch them shits until they was reruns and we could like say exactly what was happening. Like we learned the lines from them like they was our favorite movies.
You know
like,
all the characters.
We knew this shit. Oh no. Because he got out the watch. He about to get the next instant. Watch. Next. Laugh. We would fucking laugh so hard at that. And it was just like
For those that don't know, the show is a dating show where somebody was in a van and they were there was 5 dudes in a van and there was a girl waiting outside and each guy comes out and she says next as soon as she doesn't like one of the guys.
She decides if she wants to date them or not.
Yeah.
So at any point during their like interactions, she could say next and then the next person will come off the bus. So the thing is, you got to decide whether one of the people that you settle with is, you know what I'm saying, the person that you actually want to go on a date with. Of course, they have to consent. But it's like you get to decide whether you want to date this person or whether you want to say next and see who else was on the bus. Because the most attractive person could have been the second person. So now you keep saying next and you get to the last person and they all look like mechanics or something. Like, it's like, fuck. Like, I should have went with that guy.
Do you remember the show where you had to go on a date with the person's parents and that was how you would determine?
Yeah.
And I think it was you didn't meet the girl first, if I'm correct.
You met their people and then after that you decide if you want her. Remember Room Raiders?
Yeah,
where you
that's the other one I was about to bring up. Yeah.
That
all
shit
the same era.
Yeah, like all of that shit was just like, oh yeah, get to know a person without knowing the person.
What was it about that concept that they love so much? It's intriguing. I feel like you can still do it now.
Because it's like a blind date with, like, it's like extreme blind dating.
Yeah. If someone walked in here today before I got a chance to clean and they still wanted to date me, they're probably the one. Let me say that much. Because if I didn't know there was a girl that could be my future wife walking in this room and she chose me anyways, I would be fairly confident.
All right.
Yeah.
You fuck with who I am for real. I guess I gotta give you props for that. I think that's something. They got something on Netflix now, like The Circle or some shit like that.
Oh, they brought it
where
back
people
in a
got
way?
a date without seeing each other. Like they talk to each other through a communication system that they got set up in all the rooms. And some people are catfish, and you don't even know if they're really the person that they're telling you they are.
Oh, okay, that makes it a little scary. Because if it was just a blind date, that's one thing. But there's also
it's the
mystery aspect.
They got to keep hyping it, and they got to keep adding different levels of difficulty to it. Because if it's just like, oh yeah, well this person is absolutely a girl, then
it's really just a buff ass dude.
Absolutely a girl that you're connecting with.
Man, I didn't know that's what that show was. I saw advertisements for it, or is it? It's a Netflix thing, right? Like Netflix made it.
Yeah, I think Netflix owns that.
Yeah, they're doing a whole lot of their own shows now with like big actors. All right, so this whole streaming service deal, I saw it coming from a mile away, and like I feel like it's one of those things where maybe I'm just a smart guy, maybe that's what it is. But I feel like if we were all smart people, we would have rejected streaming services as soon as we saw it from the jump, right? Because that's what I was doing. I was saying, no, like, don't you like that, like, you can see everything on Netflix and that's it? Don't you like that, like, that's what Netflix was. It came along, we could see everything on one thing. Yeah. Now everybody's got their own shit, and you gotta pay for everything separately. Yeah. Bro, I could have told you that 10 fucking years ago. Like, nobody cared, and now it's just what it is. It's
I was
sad.
having a conversation with somebody not too long ago, like, where do you think the idea of streaming started? And in my head, it was, you know, Comcast used to have the video on demand. Like, you could go on demand and watch, like, certain shows that they had loaded up.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was some of the like, parent structure of streaming, because those were shows that you didn't have to wait till they came on.
Yeah.
It wasn't a certain time that you could watch them. They were just available for you to watch.
Yeah, I will never forget. I used to go to my buddy's house and we would jam to random ass hip hop music videos that were on demand inside his living room, because that was the only shit we fucking had. You didn't have Wi-Fi. If we wanted to listen to music, we had to go on DirecTV on demand and go to the hip hop music video section.
And I think that was the inception of, like, streaming.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay,
you're right. I never thought about it like
this
that.
whenever you want to watch it. It's preloaded shit. It's not everything.
Or even the same as having a DVR. It's similar to that, just streamable. That's the
like
only
I get to
difference.
choose when I want to watch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that was like the inception of it. And then as far as music went, it was Napster.
Yup.
Where, you know, you didn't have to necessarily buy the music. You can just find it and download it and burn it on the CD. And then there was LimeWire that gave everybody's computer aids. And then there was other shit that, you know, came along from there. But I think the beginning of streaming for music was Napster. And as far as, like, other forms of media, as far as, like, videos and movies and TV and stuff like that, I think it was when those cable services started doing on demand.
Yeah, but if you really wanted to go to video streaming, it'd be YouTube, right? YouTube would be the first real, because they did it for free, and then other people started charging. Like,
but YouTube didn't have, like, original content, like
right,
like Comcast and DirecTV had all of the stuff from these different networks.
Yeah,
where you can see, you know, YouTube was just whatever people uploaded. It wasn't like these big, you know, FX and Cartoon Network and all of that stuff wasn't partnering with YouTube and putting all their stuff on there.
I see, and that's not the same. Like, that's what a streaming service is now. Yeah. So it was kind of all there from the jump in a way. Yeah. And then Netflix came along and became that for real.
Somebody was telling me that somebody was telling me why it's so dangerous to plan ahead. And at first, when you say that out loud, it just sounds like that person's a fucking idiot. Like, you have to plan for the next couple moves. But it was like, okay, think that if you want to, but you're gonna be Blockbuster. Yeah, Blockbuster didn't plan on Netflix happening, so Blockbuster spent all of his money. Like, hey, come to this brick and mortar store and rent any movie you want to see. It's just cheap. You bring it back. We charge you a small fee if you don't rewind it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you can watch whatever all you got to do is come to the store. You can get DVDs. We got Blu-rays. We got tapes if you still got a VHS at the house. They didn't plan on Netflix being a thing. They didn't plan for evolution. So all their eggs were in one basket. Blockbuster could have easily, like, connected with Netflix in some kind of way. Netflix could have been Blockbuster online, but they didn't want to evolve. They were like, no, we got this model. It's been working for us. And then Netflix turned them into a dinosaur.
Yeah.
So he's like, you know, you could plan for whatever, but that plan needs to have some kind of wiggle room, because once you get too locked into something, the world is going to make you a dinosaur.
And the best way to conceptualize it, if you wanted to think about it in your real life, would be like, because like you said, someone says that and you almost think like, that's bullshit, I have to plan.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say you have a 20-year plan. Now, what was the world like in 2003?
Yeah. 50 Cent was hanging up and down, upside down in the club. I mean, in the workout arena, saying "Go, go, go,
yeah.
go." You would not think that Lil Baby would be on top of the game now with the way that he raps. If you go back 20 years and look at what 50 Cent was doing.
And even 10 years.
You would think everybody was going to be in tank tops, super buff. Like, this is the future. We're all going to be soldiers looking.
Yeah. I really wonder what they were thinking about the future of the rap game in 2003. Yeah, because they did not have a proper scope of it for sure. I mean, they probably couldn't have even predicted Lil Wayne.
In 2003, I don't think they would have predicted a J. Cole. They wouldn't have predicted a Kendrick Lamar. They wouldn't have predicted fucking Nicki Minaj.
Tyler the Creator, hell no way.
Oh, hell no, not Tyler.
And definitely not a lot of these like 2015 and onward people. But like Tyler, even his early shit, like early 2008, you couldn't have guessed 2009. You'd have Bastard in 2003. That's a 6-year difference too. And that's what we're talking about. There's such a difference. And I think that one thing that people think about, I mean, we think about mathematics this way or like science this way where we can discover new things and there are people out there that study it for their whole lives, but we don't think about art and trades this way. Like music, someone could pick up a guitar and come up with a brand new fucking way to play that guitar today. And it's one of those things that we're talking about that you can't predict. I don't know that some guy's going to change the way rock music sounds in 5 years because I just can't even imagine that. It takes that guy and that human spirit to do it. And that's the thing about the human spirit is it's so random and it's based on impulse a lot of the time. So, yeah, man, I just, I plan as far ahead as I believe in. I guess that's what I could go with.
I mean, because that's what I feel like that's a safe thing because you plan up until a point. And then if things start changing or, certain variables come into play, now it's like, okay, you know what? I didn't put all my eggs in this basket so I can adapt.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Okay, going straight didn't work. There's a detour sign here. I could choose to go left or I can choose to go right. Let's figure out what we're going to do, how we going to get around this. So to be...
It's what box you put yourself in. Because if you're in too small of a box, if you really box yourself in, it's over. Oh, it just does that. We're all good.
Okay. I was looking like, it's just blank on that side. So it looks like...
Well, for the listener, it does a weird thing on the computer screen. But what it is, I figured it out. It's because every 2 hours, it splits the recording automatically. It's just one of those things. Okay. Yeah. But it looks like it scrapped the first 2 hours.
Yeah, I was looking like, it's saying we started over. Like, and I'm so used to monitoring stuff in my own studio, like stuff like that. It always kind of gives me a certain, like I feel like I have to look out for it. Like, hold on.
Well, dude, I'm the guy doing it. That's the thing. I've always been like mainly my own mix, master, producer. Like the only thing I don't do is make my own beats. I produce it all. I mix it. I master it. With the podcast, I've always recorded it myself. And I have gotten more humble over the years in the sense that like, I know if I look at shit from a year ago, it does not sound, even the podcast, it could have sounded so much better. And I'm just the fact that I can see it that way. That's all the good stuff that comes with being your own everything, I should say, being a one-man show. Yeah. Because then you're able to identify your problems a lot better. But goddamn, it takes like a decade to get to a point where you actually feel comfortable, if you want my opinion.
Nah, I mean, I've been doing it for a hot little minute myself, so I know like the troubleshooting gets a lot easier when you've been in problems so many times. It's got to be this, or this.
Yeah, to the point where now I can have this conversation with you and just take a peek over here every now and then, and everything can run smoothly. Because that's a tough thing to do for somebody who's not familiar with just even working with their own equipment.
Be freaking all the way out. Fuck, it cut us off at the 2-hour mark. All right, we're just going to start back up. Remember what you were saying? I think you said something about your grandma's cookies. Just come back in on cookie. It cut off right before you said cookie.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, bro. I mean, I don't know when it cut off, to be honest with you.
Right. So, yeah,
and it just feels, I think the other thing is people are more comfortable when you're comfortable. I'm sure you've experienced that with like the amount of experience you have doing all these different trades through having to learn it. When people come in now, they trust you. They see that you're the guy who knows he can get the job done. Yeah. That comes with a certain amount of experience.
I see that more with singers than anything. Like I feel like rappers for the most part have a certain kind of cockiness or a bravado that kind of forces them to be like, oh no, I got this. Like I feel like rappers do that. But singers are a lot more insecure because it's their voice, and you know what I'm saying, they want to prove to the world they can actually sing and stuff like that. So I noticed that like people who have had horror stories from working with other producers or engineers and stuff in the past will come in, and I'll see the guard up, and I'll see, you know, how short they are with their answers, and then time will progress, and I just see them become more of themselves, and the shoulders relax, and then they want to try stuff. Okay, well, let me just try this, and then they go in. Oh, okay, maybe they can go higher on that note. You think? Yeah, and then we go back and forth, and now we got a rapport. That guard comes down. I feel like rappers kind of already have how they want to sound in mind, so they're kind of less open to that direction. Some of them, not all of them, but I feel like rappers in general are less open to that collaborative energy when it comes to their performance. So they come in how they come in, and they're gonna do what they're gonna do. But singers, like, I will literally see them blossom. Like, you know, they would be a closed little flower, hit them with some water, some sunlight, and they open right on up. So yeah,
Got to be rappers
people have
out
to be
there
comfortable.
that are singers and they don't realize it, right? Like, you got to.
A lot of I was
Yeah.
one. I didn't realize that I had, you know what I'm saying, the talent that I have now that I delve into R&B as much as I do. Like, I listen to it all the time, but in the back of my head, nah, I don't sound like this person. I don't sound like Usher, so I can't be a singer.
Yeah. The fact that I had experience in a band is what really opened my mind to the fact that, oh, I can combine these two things.
Yeah.
I mean, because to me, the songwriting was the same exact thing. Like, I'm not looking at them separately. It was just that these are way different instrumentals than what I'm used to writing to. Like, there's no 808 here.
Yeah, right.
That's it. Like, to me, that was what it was. And I was filling the role that was given to me. And I just realized the things that were possible with just approaching rhythms in those different ways and thinking about it in those different ways and reconceptualizing what a song might be in my brain, right? Because I'm always thinking about it like, how am I going to rap here? How am I going to make this a good example of my rap abilities? But sometimes when that hook hits, it doesn't need you to rap. It needs you to use
And do
that
something
singing
a little
voice.
more melodic, yeah.
Yeah. And who knows what that might be. Sometimes I find that while I'm right here recording, like, I'll write it a certain way, and then as I'm recording, I'm like, oh, this is where the voice sits in this song.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of that. So,
Do something accidentally playing around, and then it sounds good. It's like, well, fuck, I might keep that.
and that's what a singer of a band would do as opposed to a rapper.
Yeah.
They're exploring a lot more. And I think that it helps a lot just to have, maybe it's the jam aspect of it. Maybe it's because, like, when they're playing instruments, it's an actual jam that's happening in real time.
Right.
That could definitely play into just the feeling of, I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it. I just know that for a fact, like, that to me made it a lot easier to sing in my hip hop material. It just made me understand how they're really congruent. They're not all that different.
Yeah, I think the jam made it more of a instinctual thing.
Yes, exactly.
Because now it's like I'm not thinking functionality. I'm not thinking technicality. I'm not trying to fit as much words as I can into this small space that's a bar. In rock music, you kind of have a little more space to open up where you want a line to end. You know, in rap, it has to be on a certain beat sometimes, you know, depending on what kind of rapper you are. But once you get used to experimenting on the fly because it's a jam session and, oh, I can play this part of the drums a little bit faster and leave space for the guitar riff to kind of end off a certain way, or, you know, maybe I lay back on the guitar because the bass is going crazy right here, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, people are kind of used to making space for the other people in the band.
Right.
So it's so easy to take from here and give over here.
They're working
because
together.
Y'all work together.
Yeah.
And rapping, it's like, oh, I have to be the star of the show. I have to keep people's attention, so I can't sing on this hook because it don't feel like the rest of the song does.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to keep rapping because that's what I do. I'm a rapper.
Yeah, they're not trying to work with whatever the moment is.
Yeah, I'm not trying to focus on what's best for the song. It's like, oh, no, I rap, so I need to give my audience this because this is what they want.
I mean, to me...
Not always the case.
Yeah, it's not always the case. I think what resonates the most with the audience is whatever is most true to you in the end. Like, the fact that you found that truth within yourself and were able to pinpoint it is what people feel the most. Like,
Yeah.
when I write a song that I just feel in my fucking soul, and when I perform it, I know I feel it.
Right.
I know it doesn't matter whether or not you respond to it in this way or that way. I just know for a fact that the people who understand what I'm doing, they'll see
They
how
gonna
much
get it
I'm
and fuck
putting
with
into
it,
that. Yeah.
But like a lot of things, artists, young artists, a lot of times don't know who they are
Yeah. And they get lost in
as a person and an artist.
well, and as you said, when you're writing, you're considering yourself, the listener, and the business aspect of it. Like, how does this fit the image? And I think young people, they can barely even grasp that.
I just want to go.
Yeah.
I just want to go. And I've been hearing a lot of people who have been active in music for like years and years always say like you had your whole life to do your first project. And then from there, you got a year to reinvent a totally different thing. Like you can talk about your experiences from the moment you were born until the moment that album drops. And that's unique because nobody heard that story before. So on your second project, can't go back there. You done used up all that material. Now you got to talk about what done happened in the last year. And don't take 2 years because people going to forget who you are totally.
Right. I always tell people to at least like drop tapes before you drop that album too, right? Because if you
or singles or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, are you just talking your first release, or are you talking your first album?
I'm saying the way that you get introduced to the world, whether that be an EP, whether that be an album, whether that be a breakout single or whatever.
Don't rush it.
That first impression, like the first thing that's going to stick, you have your whole life to come up with what sticks.
Yeah.
And then once people have that, once they have that thought of you or they have that picture of you, from there, you have to, like, you stuck. I mean, not necessarily stuck, but it's like now you're in a position where you have to reinvent yourself again, or you need to take this same material and make it fresh. You got to say it in a new way. In a way that people are going to want to listen to it for another album's worth of material.
Yeah, right. Because we're in a different climate now than before. It's not like before where you can take a few years and you're going to have a dedicated fan base. It's like everybody's rabidly waiting for your newest
Everybody's
material.
dropping 3,000 songs a day.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I saw some crazy thing where they were saying it's like millions of songs on Spotify with 0 listens.
I heard about that.
And it's like, what? Like, they're not even listening to their own shit? Like, but then when you think about it, some people are dedicated to a certain, like, platform. So, like, let's say you have Spotify and I have Apple Music. If I listen to my shit on only Apple Music and I tell my friends and I'm pushing the Apple Music link because that's what I personally use and that's what I swear by, until it comes across your radar, I don't have anybody that's going to Spotify to listen to this song.
Exactly. If a tree falls in the wood and no one's around to hear it fall, did the tree fall at all?
If I don't have anybody that's like, oh, I see that you dropped something, I'm going to go look for it over here.
Yeah.
You know, if you just click the link, wherever it opens up is wherever it opens up.
Well, that's the whole problem with it. It's like, what is the function of having all this useless music on the platform too? Like, it's just there. What do you do with it? No one's the person who made the shit's not even advertising it.
Yeah, it's like, but that's one thing that I need to do too. Like, I drop my music and then I just give it to the world.
Okay, so I think that could work if you were an expert at real life marketing. That's how I've been thinking about that. Is like, if you wanted to be the guy who had everybody come to you, you probably could pull that off. But you'd have to be, like we were talking about, in everybody's face 24/7, because how could they deny you? They see you all the time.
Right.
But like, other than that, like, I don't see how you do it without.
You can't.
Yeah.
People see, and I'm probably running this name in the mud now, but people see J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar and they think, oh, I can just let my music speak for itself, because you don't see Kendrick on social media. You don't see him TikToking. You don't see him next to a bunch of celebrities just trying to look cool because he's the rapper in the group of a bunch of other celebrities. It's like he drops his music. He dresses how he wants to dress. He doesn't care about wearing a bunch of fashion. He'll be in a video in a bandana and a cowboy vest if he wants to. But that's Kendrick Lamar. He's worked himself to a position where he can do that now. He doesn't have to do 75 interviews every time a project comes out. He doesn't have to go on the big press run. Oh, I'm going to go to every podcast. I'm going to go to every radio station. I'm going to make sure they know this project is coming out. I think the last time he did that was probably like To Pimp a
15 years
Butterfly
ago.
or some
10
shit.
to 15, yeah.
I think that was To Pimp a Butterfly, maybe, where he was going around explaining the album to everybody and doing freestyles and all of that
You're
shit.
right. You're right, because he did
Because I don't
some
think he
freestyles
did
on
that
the
for
radio.
Damn. I don't think he did that for Damn. Or it might have been Damn, but I know for sure he
No,
didn't
you're
do
right.
it for the latest project.
Because I specifically remember him going on, I can't remember which radio station it was, but he freestyled. Yeah, I think it was Big Boy. And he did the verse from Hood Politics, I think. Because I specifically remember hearing it and going, I remember that verse.
The Democrats and Rebloodicans?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Fucking great verse.
Yeah.
Kendrick's probably my favorite rapper, hands down. I love Kendrick.
Oh, he crazy.
We mentioned him a lot in this room.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big inspiration around here, around these parts. But yeah, man, I feel like that was the last time that he really did do a big press run like that, because nowadays you never really see him out or in interviews or anything. It's exactly what we're talking. He doesn't have to anymore.
Yeah, he done worked himself to a point where I don't have to do that anymore. And people see him where he is now and think like, oh no, Kendrick Lamar's not running around everywhere telling people he got a project coming. Okay, Kendrick Lamar has 3 or 4 classic projects. Can you say that for yourself?
Yeah.
And if you can say that, cool. Sit back and do whatever you want. But, you know, until you work yourself, and that's the same. That's the thing, like I was saying, like, until you get to where you want to be, you're going to have to do some uncomfortable shit. You can't be comfortable and complacent because you don't get anywhere doing everything you've been doing. Everything you've been doing has you here.
Complacency
what do
is
I
a
need
luxury.
to do to get to that next level? Yeah, it's a luxury. A lot of people can't afford to just be comfortable.
And those people, I think you're not growing when you are that comfortable. You're not getting to that next level. You're not even thinking about how. Yeah.
I'm one of the random people that's still on Tumblr, and I saw a post that says the real growth starts when you get tired of your own shit.
Wow.
Because if everybody else is telling you need to change, you need to do, you can hear it, and until you resonate with it, you don't make any changes. Like, you can store it in your brain, oh, I need to change, I need to do better. But when you look around and start being, I'm tired of this shit. Like, I need to do something different. That's when the change actually happens, because you're tired of it. Other people can feel how they feel, and you might feel for them or understand where they're coming from, but until you feel it for yourself, nothing changes.
I mean, I would even go as far to say that sometimes it takes the action itself. Like, just even if you're in denial, if you take the change that you feel like you should, but you don't, like, you're in denial, and then it does make the difference that you thought it was going to make, it confirms itself.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you just have to force yourself to make changes.
But you're uncomfortable in that moment because you're forcing yourself to do something.
And you're addressing that, just the thought
I was
of
just
it.
listening to something. They was talking about lobsters.
Yeah.
Lobsters are a soft animal in a hard shell. That shell doesn't grow. So how does the lobster get bigger? When it gets uncomfortable, or there's not enough space for me here, it goes hides under some rocks, it sheds the shell that it has, and it gets a bigger shell. It creates a bigger shell. And then when that shell gets too small, it goes back under the rocks, it breaks off what it needs to break off, gets a bigger, somewhere, some breathing room, and then he can go back out in the world and do whatever he does with his new shell. But if lobsters had something that pacified them, like, oh, I'm uncomfortable. Oh, you don't need to be uncomfortable. Do this or take this medicine. Take an Advil. They don't get any bigger, because every time they get uncomfortable, they just pop a pill and then they right back. Oh, okay, cool. I guess it's not so bad here. They're not uncomfortable enough to change some shit. They're not uncomfortable enough to go under them rocks and get their shit together and get a bigger shell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then seafood boils will never be the same, because all the lobsters are fucking small because nobody wants to change.
Another quote I like a lot is, great achievement requires great sacrifice. And I think that goes right along with all that. I mean, like, you have to be willing to give things up and get out of that bubble in order to get that achievement too. Like, if you do have dreams beyond that, you have to be willing to give things up.
I don't know why that reminded me of the Spider-Man quote.
It is pretty close, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great power requires great responsibility.
Yeah. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh, fuck, this is Spider... Nope, that's not Spider-Man. Okay.
You know, if I ever make a knockoff Spider-Man, I know what quote I'm going for.
Go for it. See? Idea man, that's what I do.
Yeah, right. I mean, I might as well.
When we start doing Ruse comics.
Yeah. I was gonna say, when I go to Chicago, I'm just gonna bring you, and you're gonna sit in a corner when we do all these podcasts, and you'll just throw ideas out every now and then. But comics, You're the idea man, and you came up with an idea better than my idea. You just did it in real time.
Ruse Comics, I'm telling you.
That's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it, man. I could use a comic book. You talking like comic books?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how would we go about this? Like the Spider-Man. Okay, yeah. I can get the gears turning. Okay.
Let's say it like this, right? So let's say you base it off of an interview you actually had. Let's say this interview here, 74, Iron Man, but I'm not Iron Man. I'd be like Steel Person or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So we take these conversations and it's you in front of your mic, you know what I'm saying? It has a caricature of you, speech bubbles from the quotes that you want to say or the part of the conversation you want to include in the comic, and then it shows the person you're interviewing, and I'm Iron Man.
Yeah.
You know, and you know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh man, this is the interview I really had with GS the Dream, but in the comic, he's Iron Man.
And I would be Arachnid Boy.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So then, you know what I'm saying, you could kind of blend the two worlds if that's something that you were doing. It could also be something totally different where you could come up with like just random adventures for these characters to go through, and it just be knockoffs, and you could get a cult following just because everyone loves these drawings or whatever. So it really just depends on however, you know, it manifests for you. But, you know, I just throw that out there. However you want to do it.
You just came up with my third or fourth revenue stream just now, because I'm gonna throw comedian in there, and then if I throw comics, bro, we're on top of the world. Once Ruse Comics comes out, and he just laid it all out right for me. I got this on record. It's not one of those conversations where I was like, oh, damn, I wish I remember what that guy said.
What did he say? Yeah.
I got it all
the
right
whole
here.
Blueprint. Take that. And I'm on record saying when people take whatever we talk about and go be great with it, I'm not angry. So you have the proof. Like, no, you can't sue me, motherfucker. You said you'd be cool with this.
Not only that, I'm keeping in touch. I'm going to message him every couple days. Like, hey, man, so what do you think Arachnid Boy should do after this? What do you think's a good character arc for Professor Tentacles?
Right. And then I think like if the webs come out of his wrist, it's gonna be too close to being sued. His webs should like it should come out like his elbows, and he swings awkwardly like this, you know?
No, we're probably gonna have to switch it from webs to like slime. Right? A slime out the elbows coming from Arachnid Boy.
That'd be crazy.
That's close enough. Elbows, I like that because he'd have to have some crazy form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be wild. Yeah.
Well, elbows and feet. Let's go all the way. Yeah. So he can. He's doing some crazy maneuvers.
He crumping in the air.
He crumping midair.
Like, is that Chris Brown up there?
Yeah. Yo. We'll have I was gonna say we'll have a black Arachnid Boy before a black Spider-Man, but I think it's been done on the video games.
Yeah.
Not on the movies.
The animated movies.
Yes, you're right. Damn it. And that's, you know, this is coming out a month after we're filming, but I do really want to see that. It's in theaters right now, that new Spider-Man movie. Mm-hmm. Damn it, man. I saw the first one in theaters. Mm-hmm. That was probably the best Spider-Man movie I've seen ever.
Yeah.
It was that good.
It's fucking crazy.
You haven't seen the new one, have you?
Not yet. No, not yet.
Do you like these movies?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd with this shit. Like
yeah.
I admit I'm not as well versed in the DC movies, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'm pretty caught up on that shit.
You lose me when you get to the TV shows. Up until they started doing shows, I was keeping up pretty good. But I think that's a lot of people's experience, to be honest.
Yeah, because the shows kind of felt like a cash grab to a lot of people. Because it's like, okay, you're opening up Disney Plus. You want to get everybody to your app. So you put these shows only on your app.
And they all could have been movies.
I get it. But, I mean, WandaVision I don't think could have been a movie because of the way it builds.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like they needed all of those frames to show how she was really, like, not in the real world, but created this place in her mind. Like, at first, it just seems like it's a regular play on old school TV, and then you get deeper into it and you see that she's unraveling, and then you tie it into the shit that happened in the comics, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, I'm a nerd and I watch that shit. And I
like the multiverse thing too. That's a good way to introduce it for a lot of people, because a lot of people can understand it if you frame it in a familiar format like that.
Yeah, and it kind of introduces it in like the way that they went from having Earth level villains to planet level villains to galaxy level villains, you know, because I feel like as they introduced more heroes, the villains got stronger. Because it started with Iron Man. So Iron Man is literally fighting other people that are smart enough to make machines.
Yeah.
He's not fighting aliens. He's not fighting, you know, Thanos and, you know what I'm saying? He's fighting people.
One of those things, it's hard
in
for
his
us
level.
to remember because we don't remember. We're thinking from our 2023 brain.
Yeah.
Back when these movies first came out, Thor was really the first fantastical one that even was around. And then there was the second Thor, and that was the only fantastical one. It was those two.
Mm-hmm.
It was only Avengers when we got like really aliens and
Yeah.
Loki coming from a different universe.
All
That was
these
when
people
everything
together, yeah.
became that, like you said, like a planetary threat as opposed to a threat from Earth. Because Thor was the only one that really did all that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's interesting how it's expanded in that way. It's a good.
So then they got cosmic, and now we got people, you know what I'm saying, just way bigger threats to what's going on. And now we need somebody that's a little bit stronger than just Captain America and Iron Man, and you know what I'm saying, like the people who kind of started with the MCU. So I like the way that it's growing and how things are like tied in together.
Yeah.
Throughout the process of it, and how you can see hints of certain things in other movies. Cause like I think it was at the end of something where the Hawk was reading the screen and he was like, and this something, I don't know, it's some metal in Wakanda, what it like, and it shows like, okay, at this point everybody didn't even know what Wakanda was, and then move forward a little bit longer and the Black Panther is one of the most prominent superheroes on the team, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, they popularized end credit scenes from my perspective. Like I think it was them where it was like, now we have to start looking up if there's one or two end credit scenes while we're sitting in this theater, because I don't want to walk out after the first one and miss the second one. And yeah, it's to the point where it's a very interesting thing because I look at it two ways. For one, they're doing what TV shows did really well. They just found a way to serialize film just like TV shows do, which blows my mind because it's like a continuity thing. It's like watching a TV show. Like I fell in love with these characters. I've seen so many episodes. Like you get this relationship that you can't get through one film. The fact that they were able to do that in a world where that didn't exist yet is crazy, and it's hard for us to understand because we've all seen how the Marvel universe works.
I've seen how they grow, like just in characters. Because, like I said, back at the beginning, Iron Man, very selfish. That was pretty much his personality. Was, hey, I'm gonna figure out how to make this work for me. I'm smart. I have a lot of money. The world is at my beck and call, pretty much.
And we're talking like 3 movies.
And I was Iron Man.
Yeah.
And then it gets to the point where he's so selfless that he gave himself up to, he sacrificed himself to save the world from Thanos. So it's like, damn.
Well, and they said, what's
like,
so
I've
crazy about it is
with
that arc
Tony.
is they said, sorry, what did you say?
Like at that part, it's like, fuck, I've grown with Tony. Like I've seen him mature.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it took so long to get there. Like it's a well-told story because you can feel that, because you can say I've grown with him and I saw him change, because the story's believable. You saw it each step of the way.
Yeah.
Like throughout each movie, they were taking another step in that direction. The first Avengers, he does make a sacrifice, but it's not completely in that way. It's just a way that we can identify with it in a format you couldn't do with a fucking one movie. I can't see him change like that in one movie. It's impossible.
Right.
Yeah, the Marvel movies blow my mind like that. And the fact that they also are capable of teasing people because we all have this knowledge of the comics going into it. So when we see these end credits scenes, the only reason they even make any sense is because we know, oh shit, they don't have a Fantastic Four movie out just yet, but they just teased Fantastic Four.
Right.
So like, they're playing into it, they're telling us it's coming. And also, like, to the point where it can be a bit much. Like, there was the recent one in the Doctor Strange movie with the whole X-Men thing, and we had John Krasinski. Shout out my boy from The Office as Captain freaking, or no, I was gonna say Captain Fantastic, but yes, that was it, right? Yeah, he's the leader of he's Mr. Reed Richards.
Yeah, Reed.
Yeah, but my boy Reed Richards was John Krasinski, Jim, my boy Jim. was about to see.
Makes a lot of sense though.
It does actually
like that's
work.
a very good casting.
I actually didn't mind it when I saw it, but and I'm that guy. I actually am capable of avoiding trailers. I don't watch a single goddamn one. If I know, I don't want to know. So when I saw that in theaters, I was like, yo, Jim's in this?
Right.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was genuinely surprised. So I recommend to everybody to go into movies like that, especially with the Marvel movies, because those trailers, they usually give away so
way
much.
too much.
Don't even
way
watch
too
them.
fucking much.
I'm the guy, if I'm at the theater watching a movie, as soon as the trailers start, I leave the theater and time it. I wait like 10 minutes and then come back in so I miss all the trailers. I will not be subject to a trailer. They fuck me up.
Great. Oh yeah, you go far with it.
Dude,
you go,
I hate them that much.
You go heavy with it.
Because they used to be good in the 80s. If you watch those classic trailers, they used to edit them with mystery. Now they just tell you fucking everything.
Well,
it's commonplace
I think that's
now.
that's the thing where it's like the small attention span.
Yep.
It's like if it doesn't grab my attention in the movie when I see the trailer, I'm not gonna pay money to go watch the movie because it didn't grab my attention.
They show the end though. Like they show the climax.
They will show the people who are fighting. They show you who the villain is. They show you all of that shit. They show you why they beefing. All of that shit. The only thing that they don't show you are the monologues. And it's like, damn, you just showed me all the action. I could piece together the other shit.
And I guess they're just banking on the fact that most people don't remember. But God damn it, I love a good trailer. I remember sitting in the theater before the movie starts. I remember every single piece of your damn trailer.
Right.
The whole movie, I'm thinking that guy can't die yet
because
I saw him at the end.
I do that. Like sometimes when I see like a trailer or some shit, or I see a snippet of something or even like in a movie, like something will happen. And then my girl be like, damn, is he dead? And I'll be looking like, nah, it's 35 minutes left of this movie. He not dead. Like,
girl, do you not watch movies?
Like, and then she's like in the moment, and I wish I could be in the moment with her, but my fucking logical brain is like, no, it's 35 minutes left of this shit. He ain't dead. Who gonna kill people for the next 30 minutes?
We lose that childlike wonder, dog.
Yeah.
It's hard to look at a movie with
like
blind
John
eyes.
Wick. Like I wish I could just walk into a John Wick movie and then just be like, oh man, this shit was crazy. I wonder if that was enough to take him out. But I've seen him kill people with a pencil. So like he fucked somebody up with a book. Like, you know, he can walk in Office Max and be fucking lethal as ever with no weapon. He can walk in there and take a binder off the shelf and kill everybody in here.
Yeah.
He's John fucking Wick. But, you know, just like walking into it without the knowledge that he's the man. Like, would I be able to enjoy the movie a little bit more? Like, oh, damn, he did that. Dang, he fucked him up with that. Yo, this guy is sick. Like, but I saw the first three. So when I see the fourth one, I'm just be like, okay, I know he can't die in this scene where it shows me nobody else could survive this on the planet.
Can you imagine if you're watching a movie with some fucking girl and she says in the middle of John Wick, did he just die? I'm like, bitch, it's John Wick 4.
All right. You don't get 4 movies by just dying in the first explosion, okay? He has at least 2 more of these before we can even think he's too weak to kill 90 people.
This isn't fucking James Bond number 9,
right.
Okay?
But nah, like, yeah, I feel like that's one of those things where ignorance is bliss. Because it's like, if I'm not super versed in this, I could experience it for what it is. And then there's some things where you have to know the backstory to experience it for the, you know, the full picture that the person intended it to give off or something like that. So,
yeah, I mean,
I think it just depends.
It does depend, because somebody told me recently, like, they kind of opened my eyes to that. Like, it made me think about even maybe considering doing intros for these podcasts. Because how he was telling me it was in a video editing context. Right. In the sense that if you're editing a video, think about, okay, I'm sitting here, you're sitting there, and I'm going to show you this video. Now, what am I going to tell you to contextualize the video so you know what you're about to watch? It's kind of like when I show you a new song that I just wrote. A lot of the time when a rapper will show you a new song, they'll say, so this new song I wrote, it kind of makes me feel like this, like I was in this place when I wrote it, I'm trying out this new thing. Right. They contextualize it for you, and then they show it to you. Yeah. It's just like if I have an intro for a podcast and I say, hey, this is GS The Dream. I know him because of this. This is what I know about his music. This is what I think about his music. This is kind of how I felt while we had the podcast.
Yeah.
It puts everything in a place where now when they're watching, they're thinking about me and how, they're thinking from my eyes when I went into the podcast. And just that with everything. Like, I could definitely do that more with my music. I know that because I'm always in some type of place when I write something. If I was showing you a song right now, I would definitely tell you what it meant to me. I'd say, yo, this is what I'm meaning with this song. And then I would show you.
Absolutely. I think to break down the intro thing a little bit easier, I think what you should do is take a generic intro and then like say something that can apply to everybody. It can apply to literally anybody you have on the screen. Like, you know what, on this week's episode, we talked about, and then you show clips from the conversation that you had with you and that artist, or some shit that is super out of context if you don't know how it was said, right? So you show these 5-second clips of, I'm trying to brainwash people, or man, this is a super sad story. It started with blah, blah, blah. And then, you know what I'm saying? You take these 5-second things and be like, yo, if you want to know what we was talking about, make sure you tune in to episode 74 with GS The Dream. And now people have those little trailer moments. And it's like, okay, they're laughing right here, hard as hell. What was that funny?
Well, have you seen Impulsive, Jake Paul or Logan Paul's podcast?
I haven't.
It does just that.
That's what it does.
Except there's no narration. So it's just like 5 wild moments from the episode. And then boom, it goes right into it. And you're right, though. That's the perfect way to do it.
Yeah, because then it's like, I see the person you're doing, so that introduces who's on the screen. Even if I don't know their name, I see who you're talking to. And then, you know...
But imagine if it just cuts into you saying, I had my pants down at the Grand Opera.
Right.
Like, immediately.
No, it would be crazy.
Yeah. Now they're wondering, who the fuck's this guy? Now you hear this whole story.
Or if it just cuts straight into, somewhere... There's a sex addict talking about smash therapy.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, shit, what
That's
the fuck is he talking about?
That is a good one.
And they don't even know we talk about rage rooms and shit.
Okay. Because what I do now currently is I'll cut them down to like just one moment where you're talking about one specific topic, and I'll find a good thing that kind of encapsulates it. But maybe just a grand little 3 or 4 fun moments.
Yeah, just because I feel like it alludes to the energy of the overall thing. Because it's easy to take, like, if we were to do the nature versus nurture talk, and then you're like, oh, so what does that mean to you? And then you take that excerpt of what I was trying to explain, is this what this person learned, or is this who this person is? And people might see that part and be like, oh, damn, Dream's so deep. You know what I'm saying? And then they don't know later on, I cracked a joke about this or about that. Like, I feel like if you show different things, it kind of gives the overall feel of it, and it's not just zeroing in on one moment and somebody expecting it to be a tag talk because I got deep for 10 seconds.
You're right, because a lot of the time it will be that. It'll be like, yo, he was onto something right there. And it's like the 20 seconds somebody gave some profound fucking wisdom. And then it cuts into us talking about my mustache 3 minutes.
Right.
Like, wait a minute, what did I just get myself into?
You ever interview somebody twice? Like, you have repeat people?
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, I'm going to Chicago, but there's 2 things when it comes to that. For one, don't know if I'm going to be there permanently. However, I hear from a lot of people who go from here to there or just anywhere to a big city like that. They're like, man, there's so much going on there. I don't know how I'm going to go back home. So I can't guarantee I'll be back in Flint, but I can guarantee that any Flint artist that wants to come out to Chicago, and this goes for anybody listening, if you're an artist and you never made it on the show, anything like that, I am happy to host you on the show while I'm in Chicago. I'm going to keep on needing guests, and that'll give you a thing to do while you come out to the city. Any artist that comes out, I'm happy to have them, and it's the same exact situation as what we're doing here. You just meet me, we just have a dope conversation, and yeah, man, I'll always have people on twice. So if you're asking about yourself, that's why I say that.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm trying to get back to the crib really quick, but I feel like this was really good conversation. And if it's sometime later in the week and you're still around and we want to do episode 75, like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, in my head, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to walk through the musical journey. I'm probably talk about my back catalog or some shit like that. And then we get in here and start talking about literally just the human experience in general. So, I feel like
we could have a more focused conversation.
It don't even have to be focused. This is just good conversation. And if you're going to be in Chicago soon, I'm gonna be kicking myself if this is the only one we have.
Oh, well, I appreciate that,
You know
man.
what I'm
I
saying?
mean, it's a gift of mine, and hearing things like that makes me happy to hear it, because that's what I use this platform for. Is I want to be able to give people a place where they can just come on and just do whatever the fuck they want. They can come on and just chat and feel like they're able to express themselves in a way they can't do on their own platform. And I'm happy to give you that platform. I'm happy to shine my light
This is cool.
on you like that. Yeah, man, it's cool to have you on. It's cool to hear you say that. And I'm glad you had such a good time. That's why I say all that.
This is lit. This is lit.
Yeah, and I'm don't kick yourself. We'll get you back in this room, all right, real soon. I promise.
Sure.
And it'll probably be episode like 80 to 85, because I'm
you
hyper
running
speed
through these
filming these
shits, huh?
things right
Okay.
now.
Yeah, I mean, whenever it comes around, I believe in timing. So, when things line back up again.
No, I mean in the next week. Like, I'm filming 10 episodes in the week.
I know. I'm saying, I believe
saying.
in timing. So the next time, we line up and we get our schedules to match, I'm with it.
All right, for sure, man. And again, I really appreciate you for stopping by. Is there any final message you want to drop for the people if they're watching this? If they stuck around through the end, if they need some advice, they're sitting there, they're grinding their teeth, they're kicking themselves, they don't know what to do, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that everything that you're searching for through validation is already in yourself, and you don't have to wait on somebody else to tell you that you're great or you're amazing or that what you're doing has purpose. It does. You apply that purpose and you walk in that purpose with your energy. So whatever you're harboring, whatever you're thinking hard on, and whatever your heart is telling you want to do, but you can't think of the circumstance where you'll be able to pull it off, just start. Nothing happens until you start.
We are the stories we tell ourselves. Thank you so much for being here. That goes for my guest. That goes for everybody watching. You're awesome. You stuck through this whole thing. You're amazing. And I want you to take away from this, go do something even awesomer. Even awesomer. It's funny. That's the second time I've ever done that, where I'll go throughout the whole podcast talking normal, and at the very end, I just devolve into some type of soup. It's crazy. But go do something even more awesome than what we're doing right here. That's my whole thing. That's all I ever want to see, is people shine brighter than me. So please, go do something cool. I beg you. I'm begging, literally. Thank you so much for watching. Radio, clocking out.